Alright, are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat Live. Today our coverage of the 2025 Women's Euros continues as we're now on to match day 2 in Group C. In match day 1 we saw Germany take on Poland, and while it was a valiant effort from the Poles, Germany went through to find 2 goals and win that game 2-0. Denmark, meanwhile, were lacklustre against Sweden, only lost that game 1-0 though. They come in today against Germany with a really difficult task at hand. They realistically need a result if they're going to progress. A tough Germany side they'll face today, though, Harry, should be a good one.
Should be a very good one. The 2022 finalists taking on the 2017 finalists. And, well, Denmark do look very far from that side that did reach the final over 8 years ago. Germany, they don't look too dissimilar from the side that were finalists in the most recent edition. So they'll be hoping that tonight they can win and send themselves through to the quarterfinals. As for Denmark, yeah, a lot of work to do tonight. Must win realistically to keep themselves in the fight, especially with most people predicting Sweden to go on and beat Poland later on. But we'll have to see. A big night though for Denmark. A point for me, really. It is necessary to have any chance of progressing going into match week 3, and it would be crucial because they've got the favourable game in Poland. So if Denmark can keep themselves alive tonight and still remain in the tournament going into match week 3, then I think they'll give themselves a really good opportunity to potentially get through to the knockouts. But yeah, I think that Germany will make it. Will try and be a lot more clinical and a lot more creative than they were against Poland. They were really poor in forward areas for the first 40 for the first 45 minutes, really. They were just...
Yeah. They struggled to break down that Poland low block.
They did, which, again, is going to be a big test, because if there's one thing we know about Denmark is they love to sit deep and they love to play defensive football, and that does work for them, and they did well, I think, at times to hold Sweden back. But I think that Denmark, they need to, obviously, in order to get results, they're going to have to score. And while Pernille Harder did have some great opportunities from range and, did have a few pot shots, that's not good enough. We need to see more from the Denmark front line. I thought Vangsgaard was incredibly quiet, and overall, Denmark just lacked creativity. It's all good and well if you can sit deep and absorb pressure, but if Pernille Harder is your only hope to try and find a wonder goal, that's not going to work at these kind of tournaments. Denmark have to find a way to get their front line in the game, and when the front line do get in the game, they've got to take their chances tonight.
Yeah, definitely. So, as you say, I think Vangsgaard really struggled to get in the game for Denmark. I think Denmark really struggled to offer any sort of attacking impetus. And they made life quite simple, I think, for the Swedes. But, yeah, Germany will be a very difficult game for them again today. If they can get something from it, then they'll show that that they deserve to be in the conversation for progressing. But it's more likely they won't. So we'll see what happens. Germany, though, will be keen to continue winning ways and obviously could qualify from the group this evening if results go their way. If Sweden win as well, both those sides will be through. If Germany win either way, they are through, though, as neither Denmark nor Poland will be able to catch them due to it going to head-to-head rather than goal difference. So, yeah, Germany can progress tonight, and that is going to be point number 1. That's going to be the first, or the most important thing on the Germany agenda tonight. Win the match, get through, and then worry about the Sweden game and the quarterfinals beyond that. Rise and welcome to the stream this afternoon, boys. Respect the level. Welcome to the stream as well. Let's get into lineups for today's game then. We're in Basel for this one, and we'll start with the Germany team. For Germany, only one change, and that change forced through the injury for Gilia Gwyn. Vamsa coming into the side. But in goal, it's Ann-Katrin Berger. A back four of Vamsa, captain Janina Minga, Knack and Linda. In the pivot, it's Elita Sands and Sjorgenusken. On the right-hand side, Jula Brandt. On the left-hand side, Clara Buell. In attacking midfield, it's Linda Dorman. And leading the line, Lea Schuler. Really strong team for Germany there.
Very strong team for Germany. Yes, the performance did take a while to get going against Poland, but what they proved is that it certainly isn't a personnel issue. And again, tonight will depend on what version we get of those Germany players, and especially in that front line, because we saw in that second half, once Jula Brand and Clara Buell turned up, Germany looked like a completely different side, and that's the ability they possess. Jula Brand coming up with a goal and an assist to win Germany the game. If she can have that kind of impact tonight, then Denmark are going to struggle to keep her quiet. But overall for Germany, it is a deadly front four. It is a really strong back line. No Gwyn is a massive miss, and really unfortunate for the Germany captain to be out for the rest of the tournament now with a harsh injury, especially when she picked it up, but putting in a goal-saving tackle. So a massive, massive blow for Germany. But Wamser is still a very decent player. They've still got a strong backline, and they've got plenty of leaders on the pitch to step up in her absence. I think the pivot for me has been the most interesting thing for Germany tonight, because I didn't think that either of them really got in the game. I thought that Germany really struggled on the ball, and Poland were doing well because they were kind of bypassing the midfield for Germany by going long. And that's going to be the same thing tonight, and that's why it's going to be interesting to see if those Germany two of Nuska and Sens can get involved tonight, because I don't think they were really involved against Poland until late on, where Shogunuska just kept missing some really quite easy opportunities. But can they get involved? Can that German pivot get on the ball and dictate the play? And I think the same for Dortmund as well. So that kind of midfield three for Germany, they need to get more involved tonight. They need to have more of the ball. They need to be more creative and just set Germany up in a better light. Because if Germany remain without the ball and are going to struggle with it, give it to Denmark. Denmark will do what Poland were doing. They'll just bypass the midfield, go looking long to whoever's in that front line, and try and hit Germany in transition. So I think it's really important that German pivot tonight gets on the ball and really dictates this game.
Well, I was going to ask you, surprised, no changes other than the change for Gillig. Were you surprised to see no change in the midfield? We could have seen Laura Fryer going into attack midfield, could have seen Sydney Loman or Side the Brits into the pivot. Is that a surprise or not for you?
It's one of those where I think with the quality they have got in those options, as you mentioned, I am a little bit surprised. I thought it was a bit of a quiet game for Dortmund, and the pivot just... It's hard to say they played badly, because I don't think they did. I don't think they really had much to do because they weren't getting on the ball. And that comes partly down to those players playing particularly well. But I think it also comes down to the fact that Germany just didn't get them involved. But I do definitely think we could have potentially seen a little bit of rotation in there, especially because you want to go full strength against Sweden as well. So it would have been smart, I feel, to make a change in the midfield line. But opting for the same 11, fair enough from Vuk, clearly choosing to go consistency, and realises that Nuskan and Sens can both still find a very top level.
Yeah, fair enough. I think for Germany it's about building a little bit of understanding in midfield, so keeping it the same actually makes a bit of sense. And I think that's clearly the midfield they want to go for going forwards in this tournament. Oh, that was such a good joke. I didn't even pick it up on it myself. Now, let's have a look then at the Denmark side. So 3-4-3 for the Danes. In goal, it's Ostergaard. A back three of Ferja, Pedersen and Veja. Across the four, Fogerson, Holmgaard, Snurler and Holmgaard. And a front line of Thompson, Vangsgaard and captain Pernille Harder. Denmark struggled in their opener. Harder, though, with glimpses. But are you surprised to see no changes for Denmark?
That does really surprise me. I thought that, yes, you could argue they did well to shut Sweden out, and I thought they did a pretty good job of keeping them quiet. But I would caveat that by saying I thought Denmark relied on Ostergaard to make quite a few saves. And in that match, in the first match week, I thought the Sweden front three was a little bit flat. So, yes, Denmark did well to keep them quiet, but I really don't think that Sweden front three played particularly well. Up against the front three that Germany have with the quality in there, Denmark are going to have to be much, much better. It's going to look more like a back five than a back three. I'm expecting that the wing backs are going to have to drop quite deep just to help deal with the load that Germany are going to throw at Denmark today. But especially in the front line, to go with the same front three for me is really bizarre, because they just didn't touch the ball. Of course, Pernille Harder's going to start. She was the only bright spark in the Sweden game and is their only chance of scoring, it seems like at the moment. But Vangsgaard has to get involved. She has to get on the ball, bring it down, hold it up for Denmark, and that is how they're going to get in the game. There were too many times against Sweden where Denmark will clear the ball long, Vangsgaard wouldn't be able to get it down and hold it up, and then they'd lose the ball. And that's where the consistent pressure came from. If Denmark can get the ball into Vangsgaard and she can hold on to it, that's going to be huge for them to get into the game. It surprised me a little bit that, she's favoured, especially with the likes of Signe Brunner on the bench. For me, that's a bit of a weird one.
Would that have been an upgrade? Because I don't think Brunner looked particularly good coming off the bench in that last game against Sweden.
She didn't, but I just think that it would have been a good opportunity to give her the start. But to be honest, I just think it's one of those situations where for Denmark, I think a couple of changes here and there would have just offered a little bit more energy. And at least some positivity that they have made adjustments after a disappointing match.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, as the players come out the tunnel, people are popping up in the live chat. Phil, welcome to the stream. Ryan, welcome to the stream. Alex, Lucky, and AI as well. Or Al, sorry, Al asking, well, I think going back a few years here, asking, will Pop play today? I think Germany would love to have Alexandra Pop in her pomp, but she is past that now and has retired from international football. So, unfortunately for Germany, no Pop available for selection. Lucky asking, how old is Harder? She is 32 now. So, probably or possibly her last Euros.
Never. Pernilla Harder will play forever. But yeah, I do think it's one of those. I think it does show a little bit. Because yes, she's still got the quality to change the game. But I think similar to Girelli, I don't think she can step up as consistently or be solely relied upon. I still think Harder can come up with brilliant moments. But as we saw in the Sweden game, she can't do it all herself. She needs to have people, supplying her chances and helping out, sharing the load in the attacking third. Because in the Sweden game, the only person to go close for Denmark was Pernilla Harder. Someone else has to chip in and has to help her out tonight.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, let's get into our predictions then. If you're watching along to the show, get involved in the live chat. Let us know your score prediction for this game. We'll get started here in the studio though, Harry. And you can kick us off with your prediction. How do you see this game panning out?
I think Denmark will give it a good go because, as we said earlier, they need to get a result tonight if they want to stay in the tournament. But Germany, with the quality they've got, I think they will eventually win it, but I don't think it'll be easy. I will go 2-1 Germany. I think Denmark will start fast and they'll get an early goal through Pernilla Harder. And again, there'll be questions on Germany, and it will give Denmark something to defend. But eventually, I think Germany will work their way down. They'll break that Denmark back five down, and they'll find a way through. And I think it will be goals from Brand and Schuler. Same goal scorers as Matchweek 1. Brand and Schuler popping up once again in the latter stages of the match to turn it around. And Germany just about getting the win and sending themselves through to the knockouts.
Yeah, I think this will either be the game where it all clicks together or where it all falls apart really for Germany. I think they'll either have a really comfortable win here and we'll start to look at them as serious contenders, or they're going to crash out, or they're going to crash and burn and set up a really tasty match week 3. I do think I'm leaning towards the former at the moment. I'll say Germany 3, Denmark 0. I think they'll get it right today. I think now we saw Denmark look really lacklustre, unfortunately, against Sweden. So I think Germany have got to be considered favourites coming into this one. I think it'll be a goal for everyone in the front line. One for Bill, one for Schuler, and one for Euler Brand. All looked so dangerous in that game against Poland. Once they found that first, they started to come forwards with a bit more consistency. I think if they can open up the scoring early, or at least have better chances early, I think they'll be really difficult for Denmark to stop.
Yeah, it's one of those games where I think, and we've seen it a couple of times this tournament, where Denmark will sit really deep, but if anything, it could be to their detriment. They could end up sitting too deep. And by that, I mean, if they're sat in their penalty area, if someone like Brand or Buell picks it up 20 yards out and they're not put under pressure, they will shoot and very likely score. It's exactly how Brand scored against Poland. Poland defended well, but because they were so deep, it meant that when Brand darted inside from 20-25 yards out, she had the time and the space to take a shot, and because she is a very talented footballer, she managed to find the top corner. And that could be Denmark's problem tonight, is that they sit too deep and play too defensive. It will just give Germany too much space on the edge of the area, too much time to take long-range efforts, and they've got the quality to punish from those areas.
Lamouche, welcome to the stream. Alex saying Pernilla can always cause trouble, to be fair. Yeah, a few predictions. Rising going for 3-1 Germany. That'll be... I think that could very much be the case. Denmark nicking a goal, but Germany being in the ascendancy. First of all, I think Germany are vulnerable, but not sure Denmark have enough to really trouble them. Interesting. I didn't think Germany were perfect against Poland. In fact, I thought Poland put up a really resilient performance. Eventually, Germany broke them down. But yeah, I think that easily could have been a Poland victory. So definitely more vulnerable than I think many would assume.
Yeah, 100%. I think that, as I said a couple of days ago, bar France, I think all the other sides have looked a little bit faulty. And we saw, I know that's harsh to say on Spain because they've scored 11 goals, but they did concede a couple to Belgium, who were terrible in Matchweek 1. Germany took a long time to get going. Netherlands took 45 minutes and a bit of quality from Miedemar, and suddenly that changed the game. Obviously, England went and lost to France. So all the, I think, and Norway, another one with loads of quality, who, yes, they're through, but again, I don't think they've been convincing. So I think it's hard to say where everyone sits right now, because I think all the big sides with the world-class players have shown a few faults in the first couple of games, but that's expected in national tournaments. It does take some sides a couple of games to get going and to hit their peak run. Maybe this game we are going to see 5-star Germany.
Well, it's going to be Denmark to get us underway here in Basel. Emma Snow from the middle. Denmark are loading up this left-hand side, preparing to go long. And once the referee sounds a whistle, we'll be underway in this match day 2 fixture. Looking to kick Group C into gear. The referee taking her time. Now blows a whistle and we're underway in this game. Snell knocks it back and Denmark get us started. Ball sent forward, looking for Vangsgaard. Drops off there for Holmgaard. Stuck in this corner though, and that's seen out well by Vamsa. Does come off the German defender though, so Denmark can use this throw-in situation now to try and create something early on in this game. Veer, who's come very hard up the pitch. Holmgaard looked for Veer again. Does get a throw in though. And Denmark looking to apply the early pressure here. Veer goes short into Holmgaard. Back to Veer. That one too far away from Holmgaard. Vamsa knocking it out of play, and that'll be another Denmark throw. Can they threaten from this one? Because so far they've had a few and not a lot's come from this one. Thrown a little further, headed away. And Snell with an ambitious pass. That'll be picked off by Schuler. Naive play there. And forwards come Germany. Schuler carries it well. Now Buell could take aim. It's well blocked in there by the recovering Fej. And that denies what could have been a very early goal for Germany on the break.
What a bizarre decision for Katrina Veer. Could have just seen it out for another Denmark throw. Tried on an audacious ball to knock it back to her teammate. And just passed it straight to Lea Schuler. What a really, really weird decision to make in the opening stages. And a big let-off for her. And luckily one of her teammates managed to get in the way of Clara Buell's effort. But good start from Germany. But really, really poor decision-making from Veer.
Yeah.
Although Denmark have settled pretty well here. But again, Harder flicks it onto Vangsgaard and she loses out on it. Needs to be more aggressive up there. Needs to be stronger up against that Germany backline.
Well, that was poor from Clara Buell. Sloppy in possession. Now Denmark with a throw on the far side. But already we're seeing Denmark having a lot of the ball, just unable to offer any sort of threat. A lot of throw-ins, you would expect them to try and deliver the ball into the box or create an opportunity, but so far unable to do so. Germany now coming forwards. Nice from Elisa Sens. And now on this right-hand side with Minga. Cross to Neck. Looks for a pass out to the left-hand side. Linda touches onto Buell, who takes it past one. Now looking to open up the field. Out to the right-hand side with Nusken. Turns on it. Sense. Now it's with Linda, who will go back to Rebecca Neck. Now it's with Minga. And all the way back to Ann-Katrine Berger. It just feels too hesitant from Germany. They got through. They got to Denmark's final third, and then they've ended up turning all the way back to their goalkeeper in their own half. It's just a bit too hesitant at the moment from Germany. That is a poor pass from Berger. Linda not able to get there. Denmark with a throw.
Yeah, Ann-Katrine Berger was absolutely huge for Germany in their opening fixture against Poland. She would have probably expected to have quite a quiet evening, but Eva Pajor called her into action plenty times, but she managed to deal and have an answer for every question that Pajor posed. Again, tonight, I think Denmark will do well to test her.
Ball flicked in behind. That's dealt with just about. Brand tries to pick up. Falls now for Linda Dorman, who squeezes past one player. Now to Nuskin, who can go wider into Vamsa, but it's not a good enough pass. This is the problem at the moment. Germany just getting that weight of pass wrong, getting that commitment wrong. It's just not working out. Vangsgaard's down here with a nosebleed after a collision.
Yeah, I thought she's been down for ages, and I'm really surprised. I mean, it's a head injury. This should have been blown up for ages ago by the referee.
Caught by the rogue hand there, Valisa Sense.
But that's happened at the other end of the pitch. And yeah, she's rolling around for a good while. Now she better get some treatment.
Well, that one I feel falls more on the lino to alert the referee.
Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's the referee's responsibility to stop the game, but how hasn't that been communicated?
Right in front of the linesman on that far side. But yeah, either way, Germany didn't go and score. And an opportunity again just for Denmark to settle down. But you can already tell Denmark are falling into those very, it's very easy to spot the three banks for Denmark sitting in that more of a 5-3-2. And she's going to be okay to continue Vangsgaard, which is good. She doesn't look it right now, but there was a clear thumbs up that went over towards the bench. So I presume that she'll be okay to continue.
Yeah, no malice in that from Sense, just a little bit of carelessness. Swinging an arm up like that. It really should have been a free kick, let alone a stoppage after perhaps 2 minutes of a player being down. Or a minute of a player being down, but yeah, Vangsgaard will go off having had received treatment. Vamsa. Minga. Now Rebecca Knack. Minga. Slides the ball in towards Eula Brand. One back though well by Denmark. Forward ball. Headed down here. Now is Snurl. And Balesaga. Out to the right hand side. And brought down, has won herself a free kick well there, Thompson.
Yeah.
She wasn't going anywhere. But just managed to win a free kick.
She's a player who I think didn't play very well in Sweden, but definitely has the quality to cause some issues for Germany tonight. And if she can get linking up with Harder and then potentially get Vangsgaard involved as well, that type of player that can make a difference.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think anyone for Denmark had a particularly bad game. Just no one did anything.
Yeah, I see. No. It's not like... I think it was just I don't want to say lack of involvement because of course they wanted to get involved, but yeah, it's not like they were getting the ball and just being really bad. But yeah,
they didn't get the ball. Yeah, didn't do anything all game. Here is Thorgerson looking for the cutback, trying to find Karen Holmgaard. Vangsgaard keeps it alive. Here's Thompson. Now Thorgerson needs some support in here. Could look to go alone. Crosses blocked by Sarah Linda. That will be a corner now for Denmark.
Done really well, Thorgerson, to get a corner out of that because no one went to support her and she was in a 2-on-1 situation. But Thompson, this was a really good timed run back from the throat. Right idea to look for the cutback into Holmgaard, who just got caught a little bit flat-footed. And a decent interception there from someone in a Germany shirt.
So, Denmark now filling the 6-yard box with red shirts. Looking just to overwhelm the ball into Germany's net. Ball in towards the goalkeeper, Ann-Katrin Berger. Claims it through the cluster of bodies. Now they'll look to break quickly. Great throw. And it's Eula Brand. Tries to burst away there. I think she's just about got away with it there. Some good defending from Thorgerson. Was firm but fair. Now it drops in there for Snell. An offside call though. Yeah, it could have been given as a foul, but it was deemed offside.
Yeah, really well defended. It was a great catch and it was a great claim throw by Ann-Katrin Berger. How on earth she was the one who emerged through all those bodies with the ball in her hands. It is a top piece of goalkeeping and a great throw out, but really well defended to stop Eula Brand running away with that there.
Yeah, Balesaga. Now Katrina Vaya. Back to Balesaga. Here's Holmgaard. And a strong challenge, knocking it out of play there from Sense.
Actually, I don't think Germany's pivot's done too badly across either game. Snell and Holmgard have done... Denmark, sorry, yeah. Have done pretty well.
Snell tries to play out to the right-hand side. Thompson holds on to the ball really well. Paul poke through it, looking for Pernilla Harder, just a little too much on it. And it's hacked away by Berger. Drops in there for Veja. Sara Holmgard. Veja. It's a great run in there from Holmgard. Opens up so much space, but Veja just doesn't want to play that pass. Could have gone direct into Vangsgaard or Harder. But just not really comfortable on that right foot. Flicked on well there by Vangsgaard. Knack has Harder chasing her down. They do play well out of it, Germany. And that'll end up back to goalkeeper Anne-Katrine Berger.
Yeah, better from Denmark. They are getting the ball forwards, but again, just need to start getting some shots away, or at least put on the trigger. And if it gets blocked or something happens, and fair enough. But just need to start putting a little bit more pressure on Germany's penalty area at the moment. They're getting the ball up to the final third, and it's just breaking down.
Yeah. So pass out to this right-hand side. Lovely give and go. Brilliant combination. Dorman, Sense, switches the play. Great ball into Clara Buell here for Germany, and it's blocked wide. Really important intervention there. Recovering back well is Thogerson. Got between the shot and the goal. And out now for a Germany corner. But this is a fantastic ball from Elisa Sense.
Really good move from Germany. Lovely football. And Dorman just thought she'd overplayed it, but ended up falling to Sense, who then played a lovely crossover ball into Buell. And yeah, good piece of defending there. But Buell is now over the corner and looking to keep the pressure onto this Denmark backline. Knack is the one lurking at the back post. Oh, days. The corner, though, was actually flicked on by someone in a Denmark shirt at the front post. Could have ended in a bit of a disaster there. Not the ball, though, you need to be putting... to be fair, it nearly worked, but not the ball you should be putting in when you've got Rebecca Knack waiting at the far post. But yeah, I think it was Pernilla Harder who just got the flick on and sent it towards her own goal rather than away from it.
Well, it's Clara Buell over this one. Swings a delivery in again. Not sure why she's going low with these. They've got a bit of height, German.
Yeah.
Berger. Vamsa. Nusken. Now Vamsa. Sense. Here is Anne-Katrine Berger. Janina Minger. Vamsa carries it forwards. Well intervened there by Sara Holmgard. Now it'll be a Denmark throw now. Veja. Holmgard. Veja. That's a mess between the Denmark players. And Germany just didn't seem to realise the gift they were given. Had to take advantage of that. Denmark players taking each other out. Germany was so much space to exploit, but they just overplayed the pass.
Who was it? Was it Veja and Holmgard? Karen Holmgard in there?
Ran into each other.
Tripped each other up. Lucky to get away with that one. Really lucky to get away with that one.
Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Germany now with this free kick. Another opportunity to get the ball into the box.
Yeah. Good burst forward from Knack. And then was just brought down in there.
Karen Perma, welcome to the stream. Says goal for Germany incoming. Or will it be from this free kick? Linda. Sense. Well, it's not going to be directly from the free kick, but they may be able to work into a move. Vamsa. Now it's with Nuskum for Holmgard, committing to ground and forcing Denmark, winning the ball back, but forcing it down the line. Out for a Germany throw. Vamsa. Sense. Holds up. Great control and just too much weight on that pass back to Vamsa.
Again, on the ball, Germany just being a little bit wasteful. They're not settled in possession.
Vea, Snell. Gone way too direct with that one. Had easier options on. And Buell back in the German possession here. Coming forward on the left-hand side is Clara Buell. One back in there and then smashed away by Holmgaard.
It's a great clearance from Karen Holmgaard.
Both sides need to calm down.
Yeah.
Germany overhitting everything and Denmark are a mixture of overhitting and underhitting everything. All running into each other. It's just been frantic. Minger. Now Rebecca Nack. Lovely turn there from Nusken, losing the ball under pressure. And the referee giving that as a foul. That's a 50-50 one, you feel.
But again, even though
get away with it.
Even though it's given away as a foul, it's another...
Great turn from Clara Buell. Down this left-hand side, seen well there by Fej. One back in there by Dorman. Then Denmark turn it over. Can Harder hold the ball up? One back by Germany. Minger. Brand tries to find Dorman. Or sorry, but it's just another misplaced pass. And now here come Denmark. Holmgaard. Vea. Lifts it in behind, but Vangsgaard's made the wide run.
Yeah, as you say, it has just been a bit frantic. And yes, we've seen this in the other Matchweek 2 games that have had a little on the line. Like Switzerland, Iceland and Portugal, Italy. But the majority of those sides are quite inexperienced and were really feeling the occasion. These are two sides that have a wealth of experience in their ranks. Really surprising to see that neither side has really settled down so far.
Yeah. And that too aggressive from Elisa Sense. Shoving with very little regard. Snell to the floor.
Yeah, I picked up on that German pivot at the start of this game because I don't think they were particularly good against Poland. And I think for 16 minutes here, again, they've just struggled to get on the ball.
Relative though, isn't it? Because Sense played a brilliant ball in behind to Clara Buell, which if she finishes off, she's on an assist. And I think we're talking about them in a very different light. I broadly agree though. I think it's just too overplayed at times or underhit. Too many mistakes. Have got to be more consistent in possession. Yeah. Brilliant turn from Snell. Working through bodies. Sense can't quite win it back. Force for Karen Holmgaard. Now Fej. Under great pressure from Buell, who wins it high up the field. Germany with options left and right. Clara Buell could go alone. Blocked by Balenciaga. Kept alive here by Nusken. Drops for Dorman, who wants to take aim. Can she twist and turn her way out of this situation? Across to Vamsa. Vamsa just hesitates a little too much. Now Brand. Can she get a shot away to Clara Buell? And there we go. Germany have the opener. They've been the more positive side, but it hasn't quite clicked in the final third. But there it has. Eula Brand probing, finds Buell on the edge, who just tucks it home in the bottom corner. Tidy, composed finish from Clara Buell.
Well, exactly as we said in Matchweek 1, Brandon Buell get involved and suddenly Germany find a goal. Lovely play across the box, and it was just one block too many for Denmark. It was Balenciaga who got in front of the initial shot from Buell, but it was reworked by the Germans. Brand slots it across to her teammate on the other side. It's a tidy finish. It's not a wonder goal. It's not hit hard, but it's placed perfectly in the bottom corner and nothing that Ostergaard could do about it. But a well-worked Germany move. But once again, when the star players get on the ball, they make the difference. They make things happen.
Yeah. Brilliant from Brand. Even better from Buell. There will be a conversation here about Nusken and Schürrle. Because if that's touched Nusken, or if they deem that either of them are blocking the view of the goalkeeper from an offside position, this will be checked. But could you argue that Nusken interferes with play from an offside position there? I think they would have merit to that claim, because Nusken attempts to play the ball and is stood directly in the eye line of the goalkeeper Ostergaard. So what will the verdict be? As I said as well, one thing I picked up on the celebrations was, I think, women's football's answer to the half and half scarf, which was someone with German facepaint on one side and Denmark facepaint on the other.
I mean, that is dedication to two nations.
To the match.
Yeah. To the core.
I don't know who this was, but they were excited about the goal, so I assume Germany. But, I mean, I guess it could be a neutral who's just enjoying the game, or someone who wants to celebrate the fact that
again, I have questions over this because we've seen the replay and we've already got a verdict. Just taking a little bit too long.
Yeah. I mean, it's she's either in the way or she isn't.
Yeah.
There's not too many complexities at play. You can see that she attempts to play the ball. You can see that she's clearly offside.
Yeah.
There's no real doubt about that. So it's whether they deem her to be interfering with play and blocking the view of the goalkeeper, obstructing the view of the goalkeeper. I think you can't really argue that she's not doing those things because she attempts to play the ball and she is in direct eye line of the goalkeeper, and the referee's going to have a conversation here with someone.
Yeah, well, we've got a decision.
She's talking to Janina Minga. And she's now revealing her decision, which is offside. Germany goal, disallowed. So I think that's for Sjokonusken being in an offside position, obstructing the goalkeeper's view. And so, goal's disallowed.
Yeah, it's the right decision, I think. Because even she's stood in front of the goalkeeper, and even though she moves her leg out of the way, it's one of those where that movement is still off-putting because the goalkeeper doesn't know if that movement's going to be to flick it on or anything. I think it's one of those where for Denmark, you look at it, if that happens for you, you go, yeah, absolutely, our goalkeeper's been blocked. If it happens against you, it is a little bit harsh, but...
Well, it's one of those where it's correct application of the rules to disallow that, but is there a problem with the rules? Because why do we ban players from being able to block the view of the goalkeeper from an offside position? You know, obviously we don't want players going and standing in front of the goalkeeper, so right, like on the goal line, just annoying them. But so the rules a bit. It has to be a very broad rule inherently, but it does mean situations like that where has Nusken really impacted the goal? It's difficult to argue.
Yeah, it's like penalties. It's subjective. You know, because I think some people look at that and say that she's in the way. Some people look at it and say she isn't. But I think the majority would say she probably was.
I think on that one, she's definitely blocking the view of the goalkeeper. How much impact that has on the goalkeeper's ability to save it regardless. I think even if she can see Clara Buell with the way that's struck in the bottom corner, I'm not sure she's going to get there.
Yeah. Overall, I think it took a little bit long. Similar to the Diana Silva disallowed goal last night. I think it's just taking their time with a few of them.
Yeah, I don't mind it too much though when they've got every decision right when they've taken
that is true.
But
I mean, Jared Gillett's on VAR later tonight, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. But I think most of the VAR decisions have been correct.
Yes.
I think the only one that wasn't was the offside for England, France, and the foul in the build-up.
That one was pretty. I think that one was a pretty quick one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it didn't look.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I guess
we press the automated button and it just does it itself.
That automated button is a wheel of spinning a random wheel. But yeah. HP says, I disagree, the rule's okay. Goalkeepers are taught not to react until it passes the final body in front of them. They just took too long on this one. Yeah. Well, Germany here waiting for laces, which I've not seen many times that happen at the senior level, let alone the professional level.
Let off for Denmark though. On the whole, it's a big let off because
it's too easy.
Yeah,
Branta Buell.
Clara Buell was in acres, and she just kind of drifted from her empty space into more empty space.
It's not like she was in acres. There were players near her. They just didn't close her down. So it looked like she had loads of space,
but it was just the way she ran across. Is that she came? No one was near her. She was just waiting and waiting out on the left hand side, and as Brand cut in, Buell also made that run inside and was right there on hand to dispatch and deliver when Brand gave it to her.
Just nobody really tracking that ramp. Vangsgaard, well, blocked by Brand. Nusken wins it, but now it's fallen for Denmark and Harder. In for Denmark. Can she finish it off? Great pressure from Linda there. Right on the line between giving away a penalty and a good tackle. Just nudging Harder. But has Harder got to do better with this one?
100%. As you say, it's a really good piece of defending, but as Harder knocks that in front of her, she uses the pressure from Linda to force her wide, then it is good defending, but the Harder of old would have just ran across Linda there and either got through or got taken out.
Well, you see it because she makes the initial movement across the body of the defender, and then any resistance, she tries to go against it. So that obviously then Linda's pressure just forces her more that way. She has to go across Linda there because either Linda lets her go and she's in to score, or Linda doesn't let her go, and it's a penalty and a red card. Ball into the box, overhit massively by Denmark. Harder will try and keep this alive. And does keep it on the field of play. One back in there, though, by Janina Minger. And this could be Clara Buell bursting down the left-hand side. Plays a ball into Duhlmann. One back, though, high up the pitch here by Denmark. Lovely drive from Holmgaard. Falls in there for Vangsgaard, who gets away from the defender. Takes save, it's in! What a moment! Denmark win the ball high up the field. A few passes and Vangsgaard dispatches of the chance. Struck well. Berger late to react. And it's Germany 0, Denmark 1. And a few minutes ago, we thought Germany had taken the lead, but it's now Denmark who have the advantage. Vangsgaard, who struggled to have any impact in the Sweden game, coming up big here.
How was this crept through at the near post? I thought she'd smashed it into the side netting. But she's done really well from such a tight angle to just find the bottom corner. Really good drive through the pitch from Snow. It falls kindly for Vangsgaard, but the touch is really positive and just fires it in low at the near post. Ann-Katrin Berger can't get down in time. Too passive from Rebecca Knack. But what a touch that is from Vangsgaard to knock it wide and then to take the shot on the turn. Really good run from Thompson.
It's one of those where there's a great assist from Schuler trying to recover back in there, ends up bundling it to Vangsgaard. It's one of those where randomness just makes it really difficult to judge. Berger doesn't anticipate Vangsgaard trying to shoot from that angle. So just by trying her luck, it's a great finish to find the bottom corner.
And it falls to her kindly, don't get me wrong, but it's only in that position because Thompson's just knocked the ball past three people and cut inside. And already, in 26 minutes, Vangsgaard and Thompson have contributed more than they did in the entire first game against Sweden. And Germany are in a very difficult position.
Yeah, Berger, though, for me, has to react quicker to that one.
Near post, tight angle, between her and Knack, that shot shouldn't go in.
Yeah. Throwing inside, Snurl does not react, but it falls kindly for Denmark again here. Harder. Good challenge in there from Elisa Sense. Duhlmann. One back in there by Denmark and then sent home by Thorgerson.
And Phil mentioned it at the start, and I think we did see a couple signs in the Poland game that Germany have looked a little bit vulnerable defensively.
But that was mainly in transition. I know obviously Germany were coming forward here, but they had numbers back. So that's the more concerning area. Great chance, Harder though, firing in at the near post this time. Berger reacting.
Brilliant from Vangsgaard. Great ball down the line. She gets onto it ahead of Knack. Then just waits, slots it through the legs of the German centre-half, and Harder does well here, takes it first time. She had to. She wouldn't have had time to take a touch, but good save by Berger.
And Amelie Vangsgaard, who was anonymous in the Sweden game, has come to life in this match. And that's all it needs sometimes. You get that glimpse. That's probably the first time I've seen her control the football in either of the two matches. And that's all it needs sometimes. Yeah. She gets the goal, and suddenly she looks to be playing with a lot more confidence out there. Snurl battling away. Here's Harder. Back to Snurl. One back in there, though, by Germany. Quite an aggressive press. Sense runs herself into trouble there. It's a really good tackle from Karen Holmgaard recovering in.
Maybe all it needed was Vangsgaard to get hit in the face and have a nosebleed, and she turned up.
Woken her up.
Yeah.
Holmgaard.
But how football can be such a different game. You know, a few minutes ago, Germany had just taken the lead, but the goal gets disallowed. Denmark got the other end, get a goal of their own, and now we're in a completely different position.
Yeah. Driving the ball forwards here. It's Thompson. Has a decision made. Goes alone, and it's just wide of the mark. She'll argue that there was a deflection in there. That wasn't though. That would go out for a goal kick. Eugene says Denmark looked dangerous. And we have people at the start of the stream saying Denmark don't look like they can offer anything. Just how quickly 28 minutes can shift perspective. Really good attacking play from Denmark. Much improved performance so far in Germany. Looking vulnerable.
Thompson looks a different player. An absolute different player from the player that I saw take the pitch against Sweden. Looks so lively, so sharp, and it's confidence in anything. She wants to get the ball and run at Germany. And so far, it's led to a goal, and there she had a shot of her own that was just wide.
Yeah.
But 3 shots each. Denmark have been really positive. Germany again, for the disallowed goal, all it showed was that when they get the ball to Brand and build in good areas, they're dangerous and they'll score goals. But again, some more fundamental issues that they have to address. Because yes, if they get the ball to Buell or Brand again tonight, they will probably go on and score or have a good chance. But they can't just rely on their good forwards bailing them out.
And this game now giving us more questions than answers heading into this one. You know, are Germany maybe not as good as we first thought? Are Denmark actually just quite a decent side? Are Sweden incredible that they managed to keep this Denmark team quiet? We don't know. So many questions. I mean, if Sweden go on to win 5-0, I think we'll have our answer.
I didn't think the Sweden front three was pretty good. But if they go score 4 goals against Poland and all get contributions,
well, again they just lacked clinicality. We should have, maybe looking at how Poland played against Germany, we praised Poland massively because the performance was really good. But obviously then Germany's quality in attacking areas prevailing and bailing them out a little. But should we have seen some of these warning signs coming in that match?
But also on Denmark, I think that, maybe we haven't given them enough credit that they deserve to only lose by a goal to 0 to Sweden. And that was a brilliant goal from Angeldal. And without that, would they have drawn? I think, we know the quality that Sweden have. So maybe we didn't give Denmark enough plaudits for putting up a good fight in that game. I say that now, but as you say, Germany might turn up in the second half, score 3 goals, and suddenly we're back to where we were at the start of the game. Football is an unpredictable game sometimes, and I think this match has still going to have plenty of twists and turns over the next hour.
Indeed, Dorman back now to Knack, Berger. That's this right-hand side. Here's Janina Minger. Now Nusken. Back to Berger. Sense. Minger. Vamsa. Direct pass and Ashula. Good hold up. Finds Nusken who tries to poke it forwards. Can't. Out of play now for a Germany throw. Vamsa. Now Brand wants to come inside. Poking a pass through. Dorman then trying to do the same. Neither coming off.
Dorman again. Been a really quiet game. I know it hasn't been particularly good for Germany at all in attacking areas, and I don't want to criticise players too much because overall Germany haven't been brilliant. But we have seen glimpses from Buell and Brand, and Schuler, to be fair, hasn't really got involved either. But because Dorman's obviously playing deeper and more centrally, I'd expect her to be more involved in any of those 3. But yeah, just doesn't seem to be able to get on the ball. Because if she can get on the ball, she will create the chances for Germany. But at the moment, they just can't seem to get her involved.
Buell driving inside. Puts into the box, and that's cleared away by Balenciaga. And out now for a Denmark throw.
Again, sharp from Clara Buell. She looks dangerous when she gets on the ball. Germany need to keep getting that ball to that left-hand side.
Well, Denmark now with Thompson down injured.
This will be a shame. I hope if there is a serious problem here, because I think Thompson's looked superb today. Just looked really dangerous. Whenever she's picked up the ball, has been direct. Has caused Germany problems. Yeah, so looking back at this Buell goal that was disallowed, Nusken clearly in an offside position, and deemed to be in
Even
front.
remotely
Yeah,
onside.
and deemed to be in front of the goalkeeper.
But that's the sort of one where I think that's a justified offside, and that's where I'd change the offside rule because she's entirely ahead
Yeah.
of the defended player, so she's got a clear, an obvious advantage, and so that one I'd say, yeah, offside is fair there. That's the thing I think people complain all the time about VAR. I don't think it's the technology that's the problem. It's just the rules.
And when it's not automated, it's usually the people as well.
Yeah, that is true. And like the offside rule was brought in to prevent teams in the 60s, 70s being able to play these strikers that just stand in the penalty area, wait for the defenders to hoof the ball on. But no modern team would be able to do that. Your out of possession structure would be so poor because you'd have maybe 9 players, maybe even 8 players defending off the ball, and then you're waiting then to just smash it forwards. Like, I think you take the offside rule out entirely, you'd just create a situation where everyone was playing super counter-attacking football and breaking away and the fast players would basically just score loads of goals because they'd break into one-on-one situations all the time because they could just start running and outpace the defender and then receive the ball. But I think you can have a middle ground where you give the advantage back to the attacker, so we do see more goals still, but without being so... I think it becomes less pedantic.
Mm.
Yeah, you still have tight ones, but I think if you're entirely ahead of the ball, it's a difference between, I'm just slightly ahead of the defender, so you've got a massive advantage there. You don't. But yeah, the other problem is that then favours as well it often favours bigger teams because they're the ones who tend to score more goals. So offside rule can often bail out smaller sides, but ball played forwards. Thompson tries to hold it up. Here's Vamsa. Actually says, yeah, I agree with that part. Beth Mead definitely got no advantage, so it shouldn't be offside. Well, yeah, you can't really consider based on what happens afterwards, because if Beth Mead, allows that ball to run across her body and breaks in behind, it's a different match. She obviously comes back into an onside position.
That's a tough example to use, because obviously Beth Mead was in line.
Oh, obviously Beth Mead was onside. So, there you go. Dorman carrying it forwards. Had to look left there. Linda Dorman. Now Vamsa. Great job wriggling through the play. Nusken. Linda. Clara Buell. Into the box. Did that come off the arm there?
Yes.
Yes, it did. Penalty to Germany. Ref didn't need to think about that for long. Thuggergaard with her arm raised. Buell with the ball in, and it struck the arm there of the Denmark defender. So silly. The question now will be, was she in the box?
No.
Don't think so. So VAR will check this.
Oh, she's on
She
the line.
jumps and ends up falling. She starts outside the box, jumps, ends up with a foot inside the box. So
there's no question over the handball. It's just whether she was in the box or not. And they are going to have a look.
For the second Saturday, they are in their money.
I think from Katerina Campos on pitch, that's the right decision. Because it's a handball and it's very tight. It's just whether she's in the box or not, which I think it's really difficult to determine.
Well, she sees the player fall in the penalty area and she sees that quite obvious handball. So that's definitely a penalty in that regard. The question is she inside the penalty area? Do they count?
Whether it's difficult.
Because she jumps from outside the box, handballs in the air and falls inside the box. So is it where as a referee, is it where the player makes contact and then they judge it from there because she's in the air? Where does she deem it as inside or outside the box? And then or is it when she's leaving or when she hits the ground next?
It's a difficult one.
Again, the rules.
If she was on the ground, it'd be taken from where she is stood because the ball can. But because your hand gets hit by the ball, it can knock your arm into the area sometimes. But because she's in the air, again they have to go off her body. But how
she's levitating?
Yeah, it's really difficult to determine where someone is when they're flying.
Yeah.
So once again, this is probably going to be a lengthy one because it's a very, very difficult one to get right. I think my one criticism of UEFA would be that we, unlike the domestic divisions, we don't actually get to see what they're looking at.
Not during the decisions. No, we get to see after the decision.
That doesn't annoy me. I like it when you can see them watching it back and rolling it through.
We only see that if they go to the VAR monitor, which they don't do unless it's definitely given. Referee will now talk to both captains. I do like this element, the just explaining basically what's going on before the decision is given. And VAR determines
free kick.
A free kick just outside the box. Handball's outside the penalty area. And so again, Denmark will thank their lucky stars.
They will, yeah. Again, it's the right decision, but it is a bit of a let-off because that is very close. But I have to say, really good refereeing so far. I like the fact that Catherine Campbell brings the captains in, explains the decision, and then broadcasts the decision to everyone else. I like that. That's smart refereeing.
Yeah.
Because it avoids that moment of madness where everyone runs up to her and goes, "Oh my God, how's that the decision?"
So, ball in from Clara Buell, strikes the wall. And well, I think Thompson feeling that one a little. The ref thought she was out cold.
Yeah.
Guess Katrina Bayer, sorry. The ref thought she was out cold because she just went down and then she smiled at the ref.
I think she jokingly flopped over, but she looked like she'd been knocked down.
Chance now for Clara Buell from this corner. Can Germany make something happen? Ball into the right area, headed away by Holmgaard. Now a strike and not a bad one, and the goalkeeper tipping it over the bar. And Germany now with a corner again.
Yeah, well watched that by Ossegaard. Could have been a difficult one, but she does the right thing, I think, just to parry it upwards.
It's Linda Trove, good power behind it.
I was a bit worried. She didn't seem very concerned about where the ball's landing.
Now here's Vamsa on the edge, strikes it well parried away, right into the danger area. How have Germany not made more of that? Minger, Vamsa, ball in, Germany will rise to meet it, drops to the back post, headed away. Here's Clara Buell now, players trying to block it into the side netting. There's a deflection, another corner for Germany.
Relentless pressure from Germany. Denmark just can't get out, but they're doing enough to get bodies in front of it. And Ossegaard is stepping up with some important saves. This save was a weird one, just to punch it back into the penalty area.
No, the punch just sort of pushes it back in.
Another corner.
Have another go. Ball in, headed up in the air, headed away by Denmark. Dolman to Nusken, can't quite turn it goalwards.
Not convincing at all from Denmark. And again, they just can't. There's a very difference when you're box defending between getting good contact on it and clearing it away first time, or when you have to have a few bites at it. And here, Denmark, someone gets the initial touch, then it's flicked on from the 6-yard box to the edge of the 18-yard box, and then Germany managed to recycle it and get a shot away. But Nusken just going over the bar. But good pressure from Germany, a succession of corners, but it doesn't come to anything, and Denmark can breathe a sigh of relief, and now they're the ones coming forward.
Not able to keep it in touch there, though. Holmgaard giving it chase. Out for a Germany throw. Phil says, why are keepers actually punching centre rather than wide? I'm sure there's a reason, but I can't figure it out. Panic. The easiest way to save it is just to push it away from you.
I mean, my best guess, it can also be depends on opposition. Like, I think today there would have been a very paramount message from Denmark to not concede corners with Rebecca Knack on the pitch. But I do agree, they should just parry it wide. I don't get why they trying to punch it central.
No one expected it to go central, so no one reacted.
That is true.
Great idea. Just everything's circular in football. Ideas just loop round. Chance now for Buell, it's blocked. Falls to Sense.
What a tackle.
Great tackle from Vangsgaard. She's looked so up for it today. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, a player who looked just completely out of the game in the Sweden match. Unable to control the football, unable to get involved, to someone who's now been really important. Here's Schuler. Deemed to be a handball there. Struck the arm of Sjokke Nusken. That'll be a Denmark free kick.
Yeah, just controlled it there with her arm, which was down by her side, but she did kind of just accidentally palm it down to herself.
Yeah, she sort of armed it across.
I have to say, I think a bit of frustration is starting to grow for Christian Wirtz, who now isn't happy about how long Ostergaard's taking. I think it's been a bit of a frustrating 45 minutes for both him and his side.
Flicked on well. Great poke on Holmgaard. Now takes aim! And that is a really good stop from Ann-Katrine Berger. I don't think, again, she's expecting Sarah Holmgard to take that volley on there. This is a brilliant header from Harder. Great flick on from Vangsgaard, and Holmgard with a really ambitious volley. And a great effort in the end. Berger tipping it over wonderfully.
Superb save. What an advert that is for Route 1 football. Ball goes long from the goalkeeper at the edge of the area. Flicked on by the first striker. Headed on by the first striker. Flicked on by the second one. And volleyed home by the overlapping wing-back. Brilliant example of how to play counter-attacking direct stuff.
So Emma Snurl over this one. And Denmark once again pack out the 6-yard box. In towards the near post. A bit of confusion created. Flicked on, but into the gloves of Berger. And now they'll look to break. Eula Brand's going to get there. It's a 2-on-2. Now a 3-on-2 for Germany. Brand tries to scythe the way through this team. Now out to the left-hand side. Germany have got numbers back. Buell takes aim. It's blocked and out for Germany. God, it looked like I might go for a corner. Really good recovery, though, from Thompson, who sends it forwards.
Expecting quite a few minutes additional time. We have had 2 VAR checks and a couple of injuries. 7 minutes of additional time.
Wow. Still time then for Germany to try and find a leveller, or Denmark to push on in this half. Knack into Minger. Here's Nusken. Now Vamsa. Minger. Back across to Knack. Now here's Clara Buell. Comes inside. Looking to try and take aim. Wriggling her way through bodies. It's blocked. Falls again for Buell. Can she get a shot away? Just weaving in and out. Out to the left-hand side now. Linda delivers it in towards the back post. Headed away. Nusken wants to get there. Holmgard heads it out of play. Germany with another corner.
Yep. Denmark again getting it away just about. Took two goes at it from Holmgard, but eventually managed to head it behind.
Yeah. The 9th corner of the game for these two sides. The 6th for Germany.
Keeping the pressure
So
on.
far, they've just not been able to offer enough threat from corners, Germany. They've got to try and pick out that they're more dangerous, more prominent aerial threats. Rebecca Knack is lurking at the back post. And again, it's into the near post. Nusken can't make great contact with it. It's a bit of a mess. Not dealt with by Denmark particularly well there. Here is Clara Buell. Veja managing to get in front of it, out front of the corner.
How have Germany not scored in this game? Again, it's an absolute scramble at the front post.
Yeah.
Really messy. And, yeah, Ostergaard got it wrong. How this hasn't been poked in by someone. Sarah Holmgard just lays down on the floor. That helps a bit, actually. Because she goes for the...
She falls over it, hits her arm. It's
not
a penalty.
no.
Ball in. And that one was in the air. Unable to find Knack, though. Duhlmann. Linda. Not a great touch and not a great strike.
Yeah. Not quite keeping up the rhythm of brilliant strikes at this European Championships, that from Linda.
Indeed, and if you want to see some brilliant strikes, go check out our short from earlier. Of course, they wait until after the stream to see a highlights compilation of all the best goals from this Euro so far. Ostergaard. If you don't like YouTube Shorts, it's also across our other social platforms. Ball forward from Ostergaard. Flicked on well, looking for Vangsgaard. Now Pernilla Harder. Slides a ball through for Holmgard. Got to hit it centrally. Does so. Thompson can't quite get there. Recovers it. Can she get the shot away? Delays. Still delays. Ball clipped in there. Away from Rebecca Knack. Now drops in there and there's offside call. I thought Holmgard was offside all along. They took their time to give it, but there you go.
Yeah. Holmgard just went too early. Yeah. And that is a let off for Thompson because she really should have done better this. Agreed, has to take touch,
then
hit
get
it.
a shot away.
Just took too long to make a decision.
Or once you get past Berger, then get a shot away. Just doesn't. Not decisive enough.
She never knew whether to shoot or pass it to Vangsgaard.
HB says, Bjorn's one of those players I just wish played for Arsenal direct and is hell-bent on beating her fullback. Well, I don't see her ever leaving Bayern Munich, and if she were to, I think Bayern would be commanding a fee upwards of £2 million probably in the current market, because she's definitely not going this summer. She only just signed a renewal. I think this summer we'll see those transfer fees just continue to rise.
But yeah, I think she's one of those players that she could slot into any side in the world.
There's been lots of action in the transfer market. We've seen signings across the league. Chelsea strongly linked now with Vangerheim, the Swedish forward. We've seen Aston Villa making some big signings. Everton making a lot of signings. And now Beale trying to hold that ball up. Can't. Wins it back. Ends up knocking it off the pitch, but it has come off Snells. That will be a Germany throw. Phil says, I'm not sure. I'm not sure we skate outside of our ex-academy players. For Arsenal, that is true.
Big couple minutes now for this tie. Big couple minutes if Germany can find a goal. That is a sloppy pass and a silly throw to give away. And I think Jägerlötz will be very, very happy, because the one thing you want when you play defensive football is a lead to defend. And that's exactly what his side have got right now.
Well, this is exactly why in my pre-tournament predictions I said I could see Denmark finishing second in the group, and that may not come true even with them in the league now, and they may go on to lose this game, but they always had the possibility of an upset. I think with lots of players in the side who are able to offer something on their day, with the manager and Andre Jägerlötz, who's very dynamic, very adaptable, I thought they could challenge sides. They were unlucky to only lose 1-0 to Sweden, and they've put up a really good fight. And if they were to win here and they win their final group game, there's a chance they go through.
Well, it's exactly that. The way the fixtures fell, it was always that if Denmark was still in it in Matchweek 3, they've got the favourable game against Poland. The question was, will they still have a chance after playing Germany and Sweden?
The problem for Denmark now is they either need Sweden to draw, or if Sweden win later, they'll need Sweden to beat Germany.
Yeah.
Because the head-to-head record would see them out against
even
Sweden.
A draw would still be. They just need Sweden to not lose to Germany.
Minga.
Long way to go. Long way to go.
A draw would make it impossible for them to catch the points.
Not if
I know, because Germany would be on 4, yeah, true. Oh yeah, Sweden could win then. That's fine. Ball in. Cleared away. I was thinking Germany were already on 6 points, obviously not. Harder. Drives it forwards.
And even if Germany were to beat Sweden, obviously they'd both be level on 6 and it would go down to goal difference. No, they win on beat them head to head.
Well, they beat Sweden on points.
And they'd beat they'd be top.
So that's the thing. That's how quickly
things can change.
Things can go in the favour of Denmark. And that is half time in this game. Germany 0, Denmark 1. A really impressive 45 minutes from the Danes, sees them lead at the break. Germany have had chances. They've had VAR deny them a penalty and a goal. And ultimately at the break, they are behind thanks to a goal from Amelie Vangsgaard.
Really good finish and deservedly leading. They have had to ride their luck a little bit, but at times they've looked really strong. And they are taking the game to the 8-time champions. And I think that, as we've just been speaking there, an impressive 45 minutes from Denmark there, but an important 45 minutes coming up where it's 45 minutes where they can either find themselves on the brink of being eliminated or with a great opportunity to get through top of the group. So football is a funny game sometimes, and a really good start for Denmark, but a lot of work to do. And of course, we expect to see a bit of a resurgence from Germany, but overall, not been good enough from Germany once again. They have got a little bit unfortunate with the decisions that have gone against them, but overall they were the correct decisions, so they can't really complain about that. And Denmark have hung in there, rode their luck, and then when they got the opportunities, they've come forward, they've scored a brilliant goal, and are in a very strong position at half time.
Yeah, Germany with the same problems that plagued them against Poland. They've struggled for quality chance creation. 16 shots in the first half to Denmark's 5. but only 3 on target to Denmark's 4. That's ridiculously low. 3 shots on target from 16 attempts. It's got to be better from Germany. And so I think when we get to this half-time, it's the same thing as we saw in the Poland game. In fact, in 90 minutes against Poland, I think it was a very similar stats line. I'll have a look. Yeah, 25 shots, 6 on target. In this match today, 16 shots, 3 on target. They've really lacked clinicality.
How many shots has Lea Schüler had today? I don't know if you can see that, but I'd love to know, because I don't think she's been in. I think she touched the ball.
But 0 shots for Schüler from 16 for Germany.
You've had
Clara Buell has taken 9 and not found the target with any of them yet.
It's the big, from the players that are getting involved, it's wasteful. But how can your striker, the top goal scorer in qualifying, not have a single shot when your team's had 16?
Well, this is the problem. Germany have been crowded out in both games. We saw against Poland and now against Denmark. Schüler really struggled to get involved in the match, and she did find a goal with some really good movement against Poland. But we've seen it again where Germany, they're moving the ball wide, and Buell and Brand are able to take players on. That's lovely. But they're not doing anything after that with the ball. They either take a shot themselves, which is from a tight angle or a difficult angle, or they put a ball into a good area. Jule Brand has created 3 chances in this game, but no one's been able to capitalise on them. The amount of pot shots for Germany rather than recycling the ball. Think about what Spain do so well. Yes, they'll take a shot when it's on, but when it's not on, they'll move the ball around and they'll recycle it and get it into a good opportunity. Germany at the moment, it feels like they're panicking. We've seen Sarah Linde hit 2 that have been nowhere near the target, and from the edge of the box. She did hit 1 on target that forced a good save as well, to be fair. But it's been one of those games where Germany just haven't created good opportunities, and when they have created good opportunities, the players haven't taken them effectively.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The majority of the set, what we saw, again, very similar parallels between the first halves across this game and the Poland game for Germany. The shift we saw in the second half against Poland was that they stopped coming through the middle, they went out wide and crossed the ball in. And that's how Lea Schüler got her goal, and that's what they changed.
They made the pitch wider,
exactly.
So they brought the fullbacks into play. The wingers played a little wider, then came inside later, rather than coming inside and then driving the ball out.
They're getting crowded out, and what it means is that every time Buell and Brand cut inside, the shot is not on target. You know, it's blocked or it's wide, and it means that Schüler and Dahlmann just are not getting involved. Again, Linda Dahlmann has barely touched the ball, and same with Schüler. They're not going to get joy coming century, Germany. They've got to get wide. They've got to stretch Denmark. Look what happened when they got the ball wide and crossed it in. They nearly got a penalty from it because it was a handball. Yes, it was outside the box in the end, but again, that shows where they can get their joy. They need to get out wide and get that ball into the box.
They're too one-dimensional. You mentioned there the lack of touches. Dahlmann only 17, Schüler only 11, Clara Buell 48. And Jule Brand only 20. So everything going down the left-hand side for Germany, but that is way too readable. And so it's great. Clara Buell's got on the ball a lot. She's been excellent, but she's not done anything with it yet, and no one else has been able to really get involved in the Germany front line.
Yeah, 100%. And as for Denmark, well, their front line was lacklustre against Sweden, but tonight has been absolutely brilliant.
Well, it's been a slight tweak in how they're playing, and this is what we saw a little bit in qualifying, and what we've seen in Nations League games, and what I spoke about a bit in the preview, is that while it looks like a front three, actually Pernille Harder is spending a lot of time dropping in, and so what we're getting is Harder dropping into attacking midfield, where she can pick up the ball and be this creative outlet, or be a player that can hold on the ball and bring others into the game. And it's Sarah Holmgaard who's taking her position by making those runs. So you've got a really wide player on the left-hand side in Holmgaard. You've got Thompson who's just nestling on that right half space. And Vangsgaard who's just shifting between the half space and the central space for Denmark. And that, for Germany, who operate with a 2-2 rest defence, is really difficult to deal with. Because Harder's playing between the line of the midfield and the defence. So if the midfield have gone forward, which they're often doing, Harder's then able to receive in space. And then even if Germany recover back, by that point, Harder's either laid it off to someone, brought someone else into the game, or turned and started driving forwards. Then you've got Holmgaard, who's getting forward really quickly down that left-hand side, and now sometimes she's being trapped by Vamsa, but others she's not. And then players are out of position, because you've got players having to recover across to deal with certain threats. We saw for the goal there, the chance for Thompson at the end of the half, which she just took a little bit too much time with, and Holmgard was offside anyway. But it was Holmgard's bursting run there down the left-hand side that created an opportunity. And then she played it across the box, but there was only one other player, and she was nowhere near Thompson. So she tried to get back onto the line to block it. Berger went out to narrow the angle, and they did well to deal with it from there, and it would have been offside anyway. But it showed that if it comes off, it could be a real problem for Germany. So similar to what we saw in the Poland game, Denmark are offering a real transitional threat, and Germany are really poor at defending transitions. And different to what we saw is that Denmark have looked more likely to take them, as they did with their goal, and while Poland were a little more wasteful in front of goal.
Yeah, 100%. That's different. Both Poland and Denmark have caused Germany problems, and that in itself is a concern for Germany. But the fact that Denmark have actually acted on it, they've gone and got their goal, puts Germany in a very, very different position. Again, in that first game, we sat there at half-time and we said, if Germany up it, they will win this game. And while it is a similar sentiment here, the difference is they need at least 2 goals to go and win the game. Only they have to come out and they have to improve massively, but they're also going to have to hope that the Denmark standard drops. Because if Denmark don't slip and they keep up, I mean, their defensive numbers must be mightily impressive. But if they don't, if Denmark keep up their standard, then it's going to take some class or a brilliant strike from Brand again to get through this Denmark backline.
Yeah, 9 blocks for Denmark, 23 clearances. They've been valiant at the back. I think the other out of possession thing, which unfortunately you can't really get live metrics for, but is the way that Denmark have pressed Germany in that first time. That was the difference between them and Poland. Poland were dropping into a mid-block, admitting that they didn't really have the quality to be able to match up to Germany. But what Denmark have been able to do, and this is very typical of Andre Eglerts, is press Germany high. And that's what turned the ball over half the field, that led to Denmark taking advantage of Germany being in a possessional state and not being in one that they could easily shift into a defensive shape. And then obviously the mistake came as well from Lars Schuler. It took a little bit of fortune, and then it forced Vangsgaard who scores. But it all comes from that aggressive pressing from Denmark to turn the ball over half the pitch, force a mistake from Germany on 2 occasions, a misplaced pass, and then a mistake from Schuler, who bundles it the wrong direction. And that then results in a Denmark goal. So they've done really well to force that by being so efficient out of possession, being so aggressive in the press, and turning that ball over.
And that's the other thing to consider, is that even if Germany do come out and look good and look aggressive, if they make another error and Denmark pounce, suddenly it's 2-0 Denmark. And then Germany are in a world of trouble. And that's what Germany have got to be really careful of. That's why they're in a difficult predicament. Because, yes, they need to go for the game because they need to score 2 goals and they need to win it, to qualify, to confirm qualification tonight. But if they go for it and they get caught out in transition again, 2-0 is a lot worse than being 1-0 down. So they have to be careful, Germany, of not over pushing it or not being too aggressive in the second half, because Denmark have proven and could prove once again that they are very, very dangerous. That they've played some lovely stuff. Credit to Denmark and Jeglerts because they've got it right tonight. And the way we've seen individuals step up has been very, very impressive. It isn't easy, as we saw from Portugal a little bit last night, and certain teams, it isn't easy when you have a tough first game, when certain players don't perform, to come into your next game where the quality opposition has got stronger and actually play a lot better than you did in your opening game. As we mentioned, Vangsgaard's one, who I think looks superb, and yes, that has. But what we've seen is, I think we've seen a little bit less involvement from Harder, because Pernille Harder isn't just having to shoot from 30 yards out and hoping it goes in. She's got support up there. She's got players that she can use and she can, rely on to deliver as well. So if they keep getting Vangsgaard involved, if they keep playing this direct stuff with Holmgard bombing on, they're going to cause more runs for Germany. And if they get a second goal in this game, Denmark, they will be in a very, very good position to go on and win this match.
Yeah, I think Lucky makes a good point, saying I thought Dillman looked stale, maybe bring in Freigang for her. Yeah, they needed some sort of attacking change, a bit of creativity in there, someone that's going to spark something. It's just so rigid, so structured from Germany. They're going to have to rely again on individual quality prevailing, and it may not do so this time. So I think that's a real problem for Germany. It's got to be a real concern for them that they were so reliant on individual quality in the first game, and from what we've seen in the second match, they're going to have to rely on it again if they're going to get a result.
And the problem is that individual quality can bail you out against certain opposition, but against sides with the quality that Denmark have, and looking ahead to Saturday, Sweden, is that individual quality won't be able to get you through against sides like this, because as good as Bjorn and Brand are, if Denmark keep up their defensive resolve, then it's going to take either something incredibly magical or it won't be enough, because you can't just rely on star players to get you through against strong opposition. Because Poland were brilliant, they were valiant, but at the end of the day, they did give Brand too much time and she punished them. But if they keep up that defensive quality, then it's going to be difficult for Germany to find a way through.
Yeah, completely agree. It's important second half coming up, because if Germany don't win this match, it suddenly puts their chances of progressing very much up in the air, because it would be Germany and Denmark on 3 points apiece and Sweden on 3 for now, with the opportunity to gain another 3 points later this evening. Now, if Sweden go on to win later tonight, then we'll be looking at Matchweek 3, where Denmark would be favourites against Poland and Sweden would be on 6 and Germany on 3. And if Sweden could get through with a draw, and Denmark would get ahead of Germany by beating Poland. So they would put themselves in a really difficult position, Germany, if they can't find a way to turn this game around.
It feels like if Denmark win today, it would turn into a straight shootout between Germany and Sweden in the in the last game, and we knew that Sweden game is gonna. We know it's gonna be tough for Germany, but we never really considered it, because we thought that by this point they'd have won their first 2 games and it wouldn't really matter, and it would only be a fight for top of the group rather than going through. So we didn't really consider that game to be of importance to Germany. Also, we knew it was going to be somewhat important to whether they finished first or second, but especially because they draw into Group D, we know that either way it's going to be a difficult draw, whoever they get from that group. So it wasn't that of a game of mass importance, but if they don't get the result tonight, suddenly there's a lot of pressure onto that game. But both sides are ready to go, and hopefully we'll stop watching people swimming around in the river and get back to the football.
Look, they're about to get underway, but the BBC has found people in a river. So that's great. And like I said, the tournament has been too close so far. I expected a wide gap in quality, but that hasn't been the case. Well, we've only really seen those big score lines. Wales could have been much worse against Netherlands, but that was still a 3-0 loss. Other than that, it was Portugal and Belgium who just both capitulated against Spain. Most score lines other than that have been tight. Teams have given others a good game. Some teams feeling the pressure of the tournament perhaps, and others being lifted up by it. So it's been a brilliant tournament so far. I think Wales still have an opportunity to have some pretty tough results, some pretty big results, but we'll see what happens. I think them to France tomorrow night could be a fairly dismal game for them, but we'll see what happens. It's Germany to get us back underway. Referee blows her whistle, signals a start. Dortmund knocks it back, and we're back underway. No changes for either side seemingly as we come into the second half. Germany with work to do to turn this result around. Denmark with 45 minutes to hold on. If they can hold on, suddenly their chance of progression look incredibly strong. And now Germany moving the ball around the back. There needs to be more urgency and more quality on display from Germany. They've got to move the ball quicker. They've got to disrupt Denmark. They've got to create opportunities and they've got to take them.
Yeah.
Knack out to the left-hand side. Saro Linda being forced back here by Thompson. Now Knack. Forward pass, cat out there by Thorgerson. And it's to Sense who will go back to Berger. And now out to the right centre half, Janina Minga. Vamsa, Minga, under pressure and almost winning the ball back, Pernilla Harder. It's really interesting to see how different Denmark look in and out of possession. Because when they've got the ball and when they don't have the ball, are almost completely different shapes. When they don't have the ball, we see Thompson tuck into the midfield to form a 3-5-2. And when they do have the ball, we see her join the attack, Harder drop into attack midfield, and Holmgaard get high. It's just such different shapes. Lovely turn from Nuala Brand, looking to make a difference like she did in the Poland game. Brilliant hold up from Vangsgaard. Just jostling away there. That looked like a foul on Knack. Play will continue. Here's Clara Bill. Shimmies inside. Cut out there by Snurl. Vangsgaard and Knack both still recovering after that clash. It's out for a Denmark throw, but the game will be paused to check if Vangsgaard and Knack are okay. Both recovering to their feet now.
Yeah, just one of those where it is a foul from Vangsgaard, but a tangle of legs never ends well for anyone. Luckily, they're both all right, and everyone has still got everything functioning properly. But tangle of legs are never nice because that's when things can twist and all sorts can happen.
Yeah. That's the right hand side. Vamsa. Is there a forward pass on? Will be forced back now to Janina Minga. Nusken, Minga. Vamsa. Drives inside, Sense. And that's one back half the field here by Denmark, and that looked like a professional foul from Rebecca Knack. And that will be a yellow card for the Germany defender. Sort of a challenge she had to make with Thompson breaking away from her. But this is forced again by Denmark's brilliant press and Germany's sloppy possessional play.
Brilliant burst through by Thompson. Really smart stuff. Knows that she's going to get there first before Knack and draws the yellow card, draws the foul. Knack luckily had cover from her centre-half partner. But a smart foul from Knack had to do it, because if not, she'd have left Thompson bearing in on goal.
And now Denmark will decide how to make best of this free kick. I have to say, I'm somewhat surprised to not see Pernilla Harder lining up over. This is a little far away, to be fair, actually, now seeing it zoomed out. Would have required one hell of a goal. So it'd be Veja or Snurl. You'd think they're going to look to try and create an opportunity here. Emma Snurl lifting it into the box. And that one just overhit. It's a difficult one to get right.
They're horrible ones, though, because it's so central that it's not one of those where it's an easy. You don't know which way to cross it. You could go left or you could go right. Too far to shoot as well. So
I don't know. I sometimes think the best course of action is just to pep one at the goalkeeper, because the worst they do is catch it in their hands and then look to smash it long.
We see a lot of sides try routines from that one. Like someone's got to pull wide there and knock it. Turn it into a wide free kick by playing it short to someone who's in the channel.
Lovely combination between Harder and Vangsgaard. Vangsgaard, though, tripping her over her own feet. And Germany back in possession. An unfortunate way for that to break down for Denmark. Here's Nuskum.
But even so, it's positives from Denmark. What we saw from Germany in Matchweek 1 is they came out the second half and were all over Poland. But instead, Denmark are still coming forwards and still playing a very even contest.
The difference was, the problem for Germany against Poland was they just couldn't break down the low block. But once that bit of individual quality from Brand just created a goal out of nothing, the gaps then start to appear a bit more. But the issue for Germany here is actually being able to play any sort of football. Because they're not really able to play out with any sort of consistency. That's a yellow card there for Katrina Ver, who stepped up onto Jule Brand, got spun too easily by the German wide player and pulled her back to prevent her progressing.
She'll take that one every single week. She made a mistake to step up and took the punishment, which was a foul and a yellow card.
Here's Nusken. Back to Brand. Can she get a shot away? Snuffed out. Here's now Elisa Sense. Out to the left-hand side. Clara Buell. Could dart inside here. Ball into the right sort of area. Pushed away well by Oscar. Falls off. Banser. Great strike, but straight down the goalkeeper's throat.
But again, Germany cut inside there. Brand gets snuffled out, but they get it out wide and they cross it in and they get it on, and the goalkeeper is forced to punch it away, and then it falls to someone, for Vamsa in there, who can get a shot on target. They're getting so much more joy from getting it out wide and crossing it in. Got to stop trying to cut inside and force it through the centre.
Well, it was a cut inside, to be fair, from Buell, but she just put it into that dangerous area.
Yeah,
where
it was deeper. It was, and that's the thing. If you're going to cut inside, you've got to cut in deeper. So you're not as right where in the Denmark penalty area.
Or you've got to cut inside on the Denmark penalty area when there's space.
Yes, yeah, of course.
And take a shot and then score, as we saw earlier from Buell, but that was disallowed. Linda. Now Clara Buell. Looks to run at Ferge, but is snuffed out well. And now Thoggerson up the line, headed down by Knack. Linda to Knack. Here's Sense. Now it's with Knack. Ball out to Buell, who will come inside. Looks so dangerous. Clara Buell, great dribble. Nusken, Sense, out wide to Vamsa. Dorman comes wide, goes down in the penalty area. I mean, that's either a penalty or a yellow card for diving. Referee doesn't give it either way. She does really well here, Dorman. Just pulls into this wide area to try and receive the ball. Vaya, she does make contact with Linda Dorman. Is it enough to see her go down like that?
Oh,
It is clumsy from Katrina Vaya.
But I think she gets...
She may just get away with it. Oh, VAR.
No, yeah, gonna have a look.
We'll check this.
I think this could potentially be a penalty.
Yeah,
clumsy.
Vaya just gets that one right. So smart from Linda Dorman. Just sneaks it into a position to draw the foul.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a second yellow for Vaya. I doubt it.
Runs the risk, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd give.
Depends what.
There's not too much mass in it.
No.
One of those where I don't think she knows Dorman's there. Yeah. Dorman just sneaks up behind her. Vaya just goes to deal with the ball as she normally would, and ends up catching Linda Dorman.
So this bit annoys me because what they're going to do is they're going to sit there, look at it for a minute and a half, and then tell the referee to go look at it. They should just get the ref to look at it straight away.
Yeah, Klutz doesn't think it's a penalty.
If they think it's contentious, and she is now going to have a look at it. But again, she should have gone to. They should have told her to go look at it 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, they really should just watch it with the ref and save all this time rather than going, yeah, I want to check it.
Rather than sit there.
No, it's going to be a penalty because they've already made a verdict on over the intercom. Not intercom, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a penalty. It's really good positioning from Dorman, and Vaya just clips her.
She goes down very softly.
She does. But yeah, it's a little bit clumsy from Vaya, but to be honest, it's just a really good piece of play from Dorman. Just gets the wrong side of Vaya, who, to be honest, I think she just goes to kick the ball, but the thing is, Dorman's just got her leg in there, in between Vaya's boot and the ball. And I think that this will be given as a Germany penalty. Referee's still having a good look at it. Now we've got a decision.
And the decision is going to be a penalty for Germany. Clumsy from Katrina Vaya. Dorman does really well. It's deft movement. Vaya caught blindsided, just making the mistake of bringing her down. Andre Eglerts will plead the case with the fourth official, but it will be to no avail. Germany now with a chance from the spot.
Can't really argue against that one for Denmark.
And it's going to be Sjokke Nusken to take, or is she just holding the ball?
No,
It'll be
she's
Nusken to
taking.
take. So big decision here. Not Lea Schuler who steps up over the penalty. Nusken from 12 yards. Takes a few deep breaths, waits the referee's whistle, takes aim, bottom corner, and she delivers the goods. Germany 1, Denmark 1. Parity restored. Germany, they needed a pen to find their breakthrough, but they have got a goal. And can they use that now as belief, as motivation to kick on this game? Germany 1, Denmark 1.
Really good penalty from Sjokke Nusken. Ice cool, and just slots it in the bottom corner. Ostergaard goes the right way, but it's buried right into that bottom left. Great penalty from Nusken, and Germany back on level terms. And now, very interesting to see where this match goes from here. They had a goal disallowed by VAR. They had a penalty overturned against them by VAR, but VAR has now awarded them a penalty, and Nusken delivers.
And it's such a good pen from Sjokke Nusken.
Yeah.
Coming up with the goods, and then a real unleashing of emotion to celebrate.
Thing is, though, will they push on now? Or are Denmark still going to hang in there and make this a very good game?
It depends. It's all on Denmark because Germany by scoring that goal, haven't changed how they're playing, haven't changed how stagnant and stale and slow it's been. So there's no reason to say that anything's going to change unless they're just going to get another penalty. They're not. There's no clear route to goal. So it's on Denmark. How do they respond to that decision, to that situation? Germany goal kick. I think Denmark a little bit miffed as to how that has happened because there was 2 German players around the ball there. There's no way neither of them touched it.
Yeah.
But alas, Germany with the goal kick, and that goal has prompted Denmark changes. I think that's Signe Brun. I'm not sure who the other one was.
I like that. That is proactive from Jägler, sensing a potential threat that Germany could now start to really put his team under pressure. And
so change the striker. Feels like the wrong way to do it.
Yeah, I think Vangsgaard still played well. I don't know what Bruno's going to come on and offer you, really.
Bill puts it in there, blocked by Balenciaga. Back into the hands of the goalkeeper. You know, if you're bringing someone in, you know, maybe even on the right wing or something. Well, Thompson had a good game. She's not scored. Vangsgaard scored. She's looked confident. She's been involved in the game. I'm not sure that's the change I'd make.
And I don't see anyone else coming off. You're not going to bring Peter Harder off or take off a defender from it, going for the game.
Not yet, no. I mean, he actually could come onto the right-hand side for Thompson with how much Thompson operates as a striker, but in possession, but out of possession, she's be playing as a midfielder, so...
Yeah. Thing is with Denmark as well, is a point is huge. It keeps them very much in it.
Yeah. Ball inside. Clara Buell dancing away through the Denmark defence. Cleared away by Balenciaga.
Long way to go. A lot can happen. But I think there are some interesting changes from Jägler.
There's always a method to his madness. Just do what they're trying to do. Thompson tries to flick that into Harder. Great sort of idea. Execution just didn't quite come to fruition. Now it's with Minger. Berger. Now Knack. Linda. Back to Knack.
Germany just starting to find their groove a little bit.
Minger. Nusken. Here's Sarai Linda. Great pass into Buell. Schuler. Linda. Balenciaga heads away.
Leia Schuler still has not got involved in this game.
Well, she dropped in deeper there to get involved and just passing out to the left back who just swung a ball in, Nusken reversing that over the top. And Ostergaard with a comfortable claim. Now they'll play out. Holmgard. Snell caught high in possession, deemed a foul.
Yeah.
Schuler's shot was saved anyway.
A little bit too aggressive from Nusken, and triple change then coming for Denmark.
So that is Signe Brun. So Thompson makes way, and I think that is Kramer coming on. Signe Brun and then Troelsgaard as well. So Vangsgaard, Thompson, and then I would assume another one of the midfield players.
They're all aggressive.
Will make their way off. Denmark want a goal. It's Karen Holmgaard coming off, Troelsgaard coming on. So a change in midfield, a change on the wing, and a change up front. Denmark pushing for a goal. They know winning this game would put them in a great position to get through. So there's no point coming here and trying to defend. A point does very little for them. Ball flicked on. And that rolls through to Berger.
Yeah, I mean, it's brave, and I respect that. I think that's got to be kicked because, obviously there is the big difference between a point and losing is a point will keep them in the tournament for another week.
But they know realistically if they're on a point that they'll be 3 behind Germany. Germany would only need to draw against Sweden.
They would, yeah.
Presumably, of course, Sweden win later, but I think he's playing the odds that is smart. But what they perhaps should have done is gone like this in the Sweden game.
Yeah.
They never really went for it. His sense. Also didn't realise this, but last night's game between Portugal and Italy, I believe, is the first draw of the tournament.
Really?
And the other game has had a decisive goal or decisive moment.
Wow. First thing is, there have been tight games, but there has been a winner, apart from last night.
Well, everyone that's losing has really gone for it at the end, and it's either worked out or it hasn't.
I have to say, I'm enjoying the fact that these games are competitive. They're low scoring, but they're competitive and they're close. Obviously, bar Spain. Don't forget what Spain are doing.
Yeah, but it's competitive behind that.
Yes.
It wouldn't have been if Italy had won last night, but that late equaliser for Portugal proving important, proving crucial in keeping the group alive. And now it would be it's close. I mean, Italy and Portugal, because Italy have got to realistically get a result against Spain.
Or hope Belgium beat Portugal.
Well, yeah, that is also the case. And the other thing, Portugal got to beat Belgium.
Yeah. I could see both sides losing.
Knack. Buell. Feeds it through looking for Linda Dorman. Doesn't quite come off. Now Trollsgaard. Strong challenge in there from Sense. That'll be a free kick for Denmark.
I'd say I respect that Sense every time she gives away a free kick goes back and high fives the player she found. You know, I rate that. I think that's good sportsmanship.
Alex says Poland's no free win for Sweden, to be fair. No, of course not. Put up a great fight in Matchweek 1.
And to be fair, it took Sweden a while to break down Denmark, and Poland sit a lot deeper.
Well, and that's the thing. If Poland are good against sides with inconsistent forwards who lack clinicality, well, Sweden's right up their street.
But also, the reason that Poland didn't score against Germany is because Gwyn put in a goal-saving tackle, and Ankerson Berger pulled off some wonderful stops.
Berger wasn't good enough for the goal here, and Gwyn's injured.
Yeah. But it also means that Poland might, if they get the same opportunities they had against Germany, they get those same opportunities against Sweden, they might go in.
Foggaard sends it up the line. Harder can't quite get there. And that's headed away. Probably the wrong direction from Fish.
Just feel like Germany are starting to get a bit more of a grip on this game. But Denmark have got to hang in there.
Yeah. Brand. Ball into the box. Headed away. Harder trying to flick it on. Here is Eula Brand, who will cut inside. Tries to play a pass through the lines, but can't. And now Trollsgaard. And Katrine Berger. Here's Knack. Now Clara Bill. Wants to come forwards. Sense. Berger. Minger. Out wide to Vamsa. Minger. Now Knack. Here's Berger. And now Knack again. Plays a forward ball. It's cut out in there. And footers clearing into each other. Denmark falls for Eula Brand. Out to Lea Schuler. Should score. Does score. And Denmark with a big mistake. Clearing it into themselves. And Germany capitalised brilliantly. Brand to Schuler. Schuler tucks it home. And that's Germany 2. Denmark 1. The circumstances around it. Horrible for Denmark. And Germany ruthless in taking the advantage.
When you get the ball to Lea Schuler, she will find a way to find the back of the net. And a lovely tribute from Buell and Brand to their teammate Gwyn. But what a mess from Denmark. The first clearance...
Yeah, just smashing it into the back of Snell's head.
Schuler's onside. The first clearance is headed straight into Buell. Falls back to Ferge, who just leathers it at her teammate. falls kindly for Brand, who lays it into Schuler, who slots it past Ostergaard. It's a good finish, and it's the second of the tournament for Lea Schuler.
Indeed.
But what a tough way to concede for Denmark. And Germany, well, I mean, a penalty and a fortunate goal and put them in a good position.
And while Snell is still down, received a cannon of a clearance to the back of the head. It's just horrible to see a goal like that go in, and I don't blame Germany for taking advantage of it at all, but just amateur from Denmark, clearing it into your own player.
Well, it was also the fact that she failed to clear it the first time. That one just cleared it straight into Buell. How do you clear it twice into two different players? Right in the face from point blank range. That is gonna hurt. Oh. And the problem is that Ferd stands there and and acts in shock and apologises to Snerd rather than getting back in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just clumsy, and it's gifted Germany the lead. And again, the same as the Poland game, Germany have not been impressive at all this evening, but the players and the circumstances have got them through. Hasbro coming on, that'll be the end of Snell's evening. Horrible to see a player forced up under such circumstances. She's visibly quite shaken up.
Yeah, that had to hurt a lot.
Yeah, that looked like a concussion.
Well, Denmark have got to find a way in the next 20 minutes. But again, we speak about how football can be so turbulent. It's a half where Germany look out of it and Denmark took the lead. But 20 minutes into the second half and Germany have turned the game on its head, and suddenly they go from being in a really difficult position in the group to being being through to the knockouts.
Yeah.
But Hasbro now on the pitch. I'm saying that's a long walk as well for the physios and Snell to get back to the dressing room. By the way, Denmark are going to kick us off again. And they need to find a level up if they want to stay in the tournament.
Brand. Great hold up. Out to the right hand side now. Vamsa. Ball into the box, looking for Lea Schuler, just wide. Good football from Germany, and this was the concern. Denmark just falling apart a little bit there.
Yeah.
Clearly a bit of frustration after that goal. Heads have dropped. Germany looking to take advantage. Schuler, though, unable to turn that goal.
Germany cross it in. They get wide and they cross it in and they find Schuler. Because that's what she thrives on. That's what she wants. Get the ball into the penalty area, in the air, and let her finish it. And that was just wide. Double change coming now for Germany. They are looking to solidify their position. And it's going to be Dorman and Schuler coming off. Another quiet one for Dorman.
Oh, she won the penalty. With some really smart movement. Hoffman and Freigang coming on. Ultimately, yeah, Clara Pils looked excellent side, but she's not contributed to either goal. So, as much as she's looked sharp and exciting, Dorman, in the only moment she's actually been involved in this game, created an opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Ansi says, did she get a concussion? Not sure, but she looked quite shaken up afterwards. I think the ref here having a calf issue.
Got an injury for the referee, which isn't ideal. With 20 minutes to go,
Ref's got a knock.
German physio just putting a bit of magic spray and they're going to tape it up. No problem with the other one as well. So not quite sure what the issue here is. Obviously, we are now in the luxury position where we obviously have loads of officials on hand. We're not we pluck and people out the crowd.
Yeah.
But no, I think that Katarina Campos has refereed this game very well today. And it would be a shame to see one of the best referees at this tournament so far have to come off injured after 71 minutes.
Yeah. Well, the only competent referees at the tournament so far, I think you should say. She's been decent. And she has now got a knock.
Yeah, an issue with both her calves then.
Just going to get some tape on there. And the fourth official there, desperate for her big opportunity.
Yeah, it's just hard. And this is contributing to more and more added time. We had 7 minutes in the first half. In this half, we've had 2 goals, a VAR check, an injury to Snell, and now an injury to the referee.
I mean, surely you just take her off here as a precaution.
What, the ref?
They've got options. They've got options on the bench here.
UEFA have got to look to the squad.
I mean, there's the big moment. She's been so good in these group games, and with so much left of the tournament, they've really got to think about taking her off here.
Yeah, rest her up. Get her ready for the knockouts.
Yeah, exactly.
She can still stand there.
Don't rest her in that final group game. Exactly. She may be a sub appearance, 15 minutes at the end of a game. Contribute from the sidelines. Just rest her up, get her ready for the knockouts, because she's been one of the star performers in this group stage. But I think they're going to band her up and get her back in the action here. Big call that from UEFA.
We are eating up time here. Obviously, nothing the referee can do.
But yeah.
Yeah, you just... German fans are enjoying themselves. They're happy. They're at their side. On course to win 2 out of 2.
Spiky haired drummer with a Hoffman shirt. Having a good time.
Well, the rest now have 1 calf taped up. Now, just waiting for the other one to be taped up as well. I mean, surely...
Are we going to see how she did it?
But surely, if she needs both cut, you just bring her off for the last 7. I mean, obviously it's not that easy.
Oh, the ball actually struck
Nusken.
Sjoka Nusken.
Yeah, just so we're showing a replay there, and yeah, the graph spikes and would suggest that Nusken touches it.
Speedo, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's called. That's what it's called in other sports.
Yeah.
Wow, a new record attendance, by the way. 34,165. It's a record attendance for a women's Euros game that doesn't involve one of the host teams. Huge showing of Germany fans here. Denmark supporting in the stadium as well. But particularly the Germans have travelled well here for this tournament.
Well, 4 minutes later, the referee has had both her calves taped up and she is ready to go, and so are the players.
I do find it amusing because a lot of the attendance records are just, we're in a bigger stadium now.
Yeah.
Like, that couldn't have been broken at any other game of this tournament because the Basel matches have been Switzerland and now Germany.
Yeah.
But, yeah, still great to see. I'm not really sure if it can get bettered. I don't know whether the people are going to sit. There's a couple in the front row there. Maybe we'll get to 35,000 if we jam a few people in for the knockouts. Ball over the top. That'll go out for a Germany goal kick. But yeah, good to see the ref back up and running. And that's cool. Alexandra Popp in attendance wearing a Germany shirt under her suit.
Sat with the...
That is a proper footballer there. Football fan. Wearing a football shirt for the game, but also having to wear a suit for her media duty.
A weird mix of players. She stood next to the I don't know, Nadine Kessler. I don't know what her role is, but like she's the main woman at UEFA who's kind of running everything. Who's showing Pop and some other people something funny on her phone.
Look at this TikTok I just made. Oh, look at this video. It's from the Women's Football Chat. Yeah. I guess is watching on. Header from Hoffman just wide.
Big 15 minutes now, but it feels like Denmark have lost a lot of steam.
Yeah, Sarah Linda here.
Again,
putting the ball in, Hoffman heading.
They're just getting out wide and they're crossing it in. Couldn't be simpler for Germany. They've got a great aerial threat. They've got strikers like Schuler and now Hoffman who's come on with great box presence.
So also by playing wider, you create space in the half spaces for players, or in the pockets for players like Brand and for Clara Buell. But yeah,
if only they'd get the ball wide and cross it in from minute 1, they'd have so much more joy.
They have to wait till half time.
Yeah. Yeah, Denmark just haven't come forward as often as they did in the first half. I think that penalty has really flipped the game on its head.
Absolutely. Germany went in the game. I took belief from that.
and Denmark just fell away. But yeah, just they've barely got into Germany's half in the second.
Both the Germany goals though, direct from Denmark mistakes. It's just one of those situations.
And unfortunately,
the team gets away with it.
Yeah, it's gonna see at this rate Denmark out of the tournament, which would be a shame because they're a good side and they've got a lot of quality.
By the way, Alex saying that Kessler played for Wolfsburg and Germany with Alexander Pops. That does make sense. Philly's saying Kessler was a superb player.
That makes a lot more sense. I was so confused.
Well, either way, Seferin often makes people hang out with him.
Oh, yeah, but...
Infantino does it all the time.
Kessler doesn't give me the kind of vibe that she pays people to be her friends.
That's true. Well, yeah, Infantino lets people give him loads of money and then he'll be their friend.
Yeah.
And let them have the World Cup. Ball into the box. Well claimed from Berger.
Ooh.
It was actually headed towards goal. Berger did well there.
Wouldn't have been a foul. Wouldn't have been a foul on Ankarin Berger. But she knew how to recover it, and now has a problem with her heart. That's just her chest.
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully not her heart.
Better from Denmark, directly just getting into the box, putting it on the keeper. Weren't a foul. So, would have been a fair goal if it had crossed the line, but Berger managed to get back up and just scurry it before it could run over the line.
Yeah. She was half a second away there from getting clarted in the face while Rebecca Knack was coming back in to clear the ball.
Who would have, without hesitation, absolutely wellied that into Berger's face.
Or absolutely wellied it away and caught Berger's face in the follow-through.
That is also true.
Signa Bruin is unhappy with something.
There is an issue here for Ann-Katrin Berger.
Yeah, just feeling that knock to the chest.
Oh, the magic sponge is out for Germany. I haven't seen that in years.
Maybe that's what got the ref back and firing.
Magic sponge. Yeah, looks like Ann-Katrin Berger will be okay, which is reassuring for Germany because she's been brilliant. But yeah, they've just put a sponge over her. I'm not really sure why they've just basically just soaked their t-shirt with a sponge is what they've done.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a doctor. It might be some new medical breakthrough that I don't know. We don't know about.
That magic sponge has been around since the dawn of time, Harry.
It has.
Famously able to recover anything with the magic sponge.
Yeah.
Germany now, then will get a drop ball.
I would say 10 minutes left, but I think we've probably got another
10 minutes.
Near 10 minutes.
We've had the goalkeeper injured, the ref injured. Anyone who could have got injured has got injured. We've had a penalty. We've had VAR checking everything. We've had Snell down. Yeah, I reckon 10 minutes, personally. So there's still a lot of time to play here. 10 minutes of normal time remaining. Denmark need to start believing, need to start coming forwards. Germany readying a defensive change. Ball forward from Denmark flicked on there by Snell. Nusken competing for it. One back with the header from Trollsgaard. Flicked on by Harder. Don't have a Harder as the ball. It's flicked on for her. Trying to compete there, but it's one back. Knack then smashing it up the line. Nice hold up from Clara Buell. That is a foul from Trollsgaard. Doesn't try to conceal that.
No.
At all.
Tidy from Buell again, and now Heinrich is going to come on for Germany.
Yeah, Hendrick coming on.
That was right the first time.
Yeah. For Rebecca Knack on a yellow card, so that makes sense. And Hendrick on at centre back. Ryan says this game has been more interesting and better ref than most other games so far. Yeah. Well, you can see a ref putting in the hard yards when she picks up an injury. It's always a sign of a hard-working ref. But yeah, it's been a really good match. It's just another game where we've seen it a lot this year. It's the big team just getting bailed out by mental situations.
Yeah.
You know, fair enough. It's probably going to make the knockouts more interesting. And on a personal note, a stream of Germany versus Spain probably or whatever happens. It's not that can't happen in the knockouts, but that's just an example. It's probably going to do better than Denmark versus Belgium. But you know, we've seen.
Yeah, it's one of those
Big
where
teams get away. I mean, Norway have been bloody awful, and they're going to get through. Germany haven't played well in either of their matches, and they're going to qualify probably tonight.
To be fair, I love Group A because you've still got that straight shootout. Where in Group B, and if Sweden win tonight, Group C, you're going to have it where, bar a major circumstance happening, it's going to both the sides who are in the top two are going to go through.
Yeah,
as it stands, both sides will be through. So nothing will be possible.
It's just the way the fixtures have gone, where B, C, and D have all ended up where we won't get a straight shootout.
We might.
Well, the only way is if Wales and England both win tomorrow night, and if Denmark and
there is
Poland have both won. So, because of the way the fixtures have lined up and the way that the games have gone so far, if England had beaten France, then Netherlands and France can have that shootout, but that's just not the way the games have gone. Chance now for Germany. Flicktor's goal collected well by the goalkeeper. But even like B and C and D, we could have had like a shootout for. We could have a shootout for first. We don't have that in B now. We could have that in C if Sweden win later. So at least that has the interest.
All I'm saying,
hopefully we don't have it in Group D.
Group A. I said it was the group to watch. I love that group. I can't wait for Thursday.
Yeah, Finland, Switzerland for a place in the quarterfinals.
Between probably one of the underrated, the biggest surprise at the tournament versus the hosts.
Anyone choosing to watch Norway Iceland that night is just a
Dedicated.
guaranteed sadist. What is the point?
Even if you're a Norway fan, I'm not sure you'd want to watch.
Well, yeah, because they're playing terribly and it's not going to be interesting. But yeah, should be a good one.
I think if Denmark don't find a goal now and they do end up out after this game, I think it's disappointing because they've shown glimpses of quality especially in this game. You know, to only, as it stands, to only lose to Denmark and Sweden by 1 goal margin is very decent. They've got a little bit unlucky, with how the group's fallen a little bit. The fact they play Poland last, so they won't. That game may not matter in the end, but they're going for it though.
Yeah, they are coming off, and that is Nadim coming on.
And we haven't seen this from the other sides who have been in the same positions. The other sides, where if they lose, they're out, haven't done the same thing. But Denmark are going for the game. They sense the position they're in. They know they've got time.
Fair, Portugal throw on forwards.
They did, and it paid off.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe Denmark can find a route to goal as well. I wasn't that impressed with Nadim when she came on against Sweden. Let's see if she can contribute positively for Denmark. But I still think we've got we've got 5 minutes left of normal time, then at least 7 or 8 have added.
Yeah.
All it takes is one chance.
I think this could be our first game with double digits at a time.
Maybe.
Just so stop-start in this second half after 7 minutes of additional time in the first half. I think we'll do another lengthy stoppage in the second. Ball pass back from Frey again, kept alive there by Linda. Now Hendrich out to the right-hand side. Damser. Nusken. Ball rolling its way back to Ann-Katrin Berger. Launched forwards and flicked on in there, Balenciaga. It's back to the goalkeeper now, Ostergaard. So yeah, a 4. Though it's hardly a 4, really, is it? With the way the wing-backs are getting forwards, a 2 at the back at the moment for Denmark. Thompson. Great turn from Pernilla Harder. Tries to play a pass through. Claims for a foul in there. Will not be given. High press here from Trollsgaard. Just loads of 50-50s in there. No, I didn't quite come with the ball. Bjorn.
Denmark.
Yeah, it's my first one of the tournament. You've been calling Switzerland Sweden.
Oh, that might make sense. Honestly, Pete, when it's just me sat here watching Finland and Switzerland, there'd be so many Icelands and Swedens and
You called Iceland Ireland the other night.
Yeah.
That was a tournament. Yeah. Minga.
It's weird, really weird situation where we're only a few minutes away from Germany being confirmed through and Denmark being out, but we're only one goal away from.
Well, Denmark aren't out yet. If Poland win later. I know, because then they couldn't catch Sweden, could they?
Yeah.
But they could have a better record than Poland, so it'll go down to goal difference. So they're not out yet. All depends on latest result, but we would expect.
Well, no, they couldn't catch Germany or Sweden.
They could, no, but Sweden would be behind Poland, and Denmark would be ahead of Poland. So it's that situation, isn't it?
Yeah,
Again,
I don't get how that works.
The head-to-head would just all clash, so it goes down to goal difference.
I suppose, yeah.
So head-to-head's only really if two teams are joint on points, because the only way that three teams can join on points is if they've all lost points to each other.
Yeah.
Really. So only if two teams are joint on points, it'll go down to head-to-head. But even then, if two teams are joint on points, it's most likely to be like they're on 4 because they drew with each other and lost to the big
best way to
team,
put it, if Denmark don't score, it's going to take a miracle for them to get through, basically. So they really could do with a point, at least from this match. Closing in on additional time.
So Vodas thinks there'll be a goal. And the Dean's working hard to make it happen. Ball bouncing around. Vamsa. Really well to hold on to that ball. Under intense pressure. Vamsa. Back to Berger. Under pressure from Stigner Brune and just about making it work. Minger. Nusken. Turns well. Back to Minger. Linda. Ball back to goalkeeper Berger. Hendrich. Looking for a forward pass. Goes out to the right hand side now. With Eula Brand. Ringing away through there. Nusken to Searchy. And that pass forced back to Vamsa. Down the line. Searchy. Nusken. Here's Buell. Look to fire a shot here. Clara Buell gets that one all wrong.
Yeah, not bad play between Buell and Freigang down that right hand side. But yeah, Buell just doesn't get on quite right. Denmark, they're hoping we're going to see a lot of minutes added on here.
And as we flicked on there, it comes off of Freigang. And the clock ticking down to 90 minutes. Berger sending it long. We'll have 9 additional minutes in this game. So time still for Denmark. That's good defending from Holmgaard. One high up the field. Here come Germany. Chance for Freigang. Blocked wide. Corner now for the Germans. And this is just sloppy out from the back again from Denmark. Freigang's effort blocked by Balenciaga.
They've really let themselves down on the ball in this second half, Denmark. Just been too wasteful and too sloppy with it.
And Berger now is down with an injury. The ball's up the other end of the pitch. So now the ref has got to jog the length of the field.
With dodgy calves.
Yeah.
She's anchoring Berger down again.
Getting the cardio in here is the ref, Camp Boss.
He's just going to end up still struggling.
With that chest injury from earlier.
They've got sponge out again. I'm not. If someone knows what that sponge is doing, then
One of those where the timing is suspicious, isn't it?
it is. But the fact she's been down before,
Yeah.
and she still doesn't look to be too comfortable.
Well, they've sent the goalkeeper out for a jog. And miraculously, she'll continue. So that's just killed a minute, which they're realistically not going to add that full minute on. But there's still enough time here for Denmark. If they can use it, be all over this. Freigang coming short. Bill puts it into the box. Pushed away and then cleared away by Denmark. It'll be Kramer to get there. Don't know what she's doing there, Pernilla Harder, sorry. Does win a free kick. Bogerson. Ball launched up the pitch. Flicked on well. Chance now for Nadim.
Didn't back
Just
herself.
too slow.
Has to throw herself at that. Just didn't. So yeah, maybe it was just too far away. Let's have another look.
If she starts running, just doesn't.
She gives up that 2 seconds. At this point in the match, you've just got to throw yourself at anything.
That ball out now for a Denmark goal kick. And this needs to go from back to front quickly. 6 minutes left. Ostergaard sends it long. Flick on in there. Now Buell. Down to Freigang. One back. Brune. Nadim. Manages to find Pernilla Harder. Can she correct chance? Ball into the box. Skews up into the hands of Katrina Berger.
Crucial deflection that just steers it towards Germany's keeper. Without that, it could have been a little bit of danger. But well held by Berger. She'll launch it along herself, but Denmark win it back again.
Flicked on by Harder, flicked on by Nadim.
An offside.
Harder
yeah.
down injured, but there's an offside in there.
Sloppy from Nadim, really. Has to get back in.
Yeah. Just can't understand that change. I know she's been a great goal scorer in the past, but surely bring someone on with a bit more legs.
Yeah. Just you need energy.
In behind there, she looked like she was running through treacle, and then she just didn't recover back.
You need energy, not experience, in these kind of moments.
Well, experience can be all right, but she's just so slow.
Yeah.
It's understandable. She's 37 now, Nadim.
Mm-hmm. Back past to Berger. Deals with it well. Nothing silly that from Berger. I like that. That's smart decision making there.
Fence, one back in there by Nadim. Good press to recover for Germany. Linda into Buell. Germany want to put the nail in the coffin. Denmark need to win it back and counter. Takes it past Ferge to the clip towards the back post, and that's flicked away. And Kramer's headed out for a corner.
Wrong way. Headed the wrong way. Got to try and head that out rather than head it. Didn't need to head that back for a corner. Wasn't under any pressure. Someone on her team's got to tell her she's got time there.
Play it too safe, really.
Yeah. "4 minutes for Denmark to find a goal. But at the moment, they're the ones under pressure. And it's Germany with a corner.
Here's Clara Buell blocked. That'll be another corner for Germany. And there'll be a change if given the opportunity as well for Germany.
Still taking these corners short and just keeping the ball away from Denmark.
Ball in, headed away. Now Nadim can carry the ball forwards here for Denmark. Wins a throw. Can't quite get that under control as well. She's made
yeah,
up by 20 yards.
Unfortunately for her, the referee's noticed. Although
It's not
home
going to
guard.
penalise home guard. It's another 20 yards. Hard tries to get there. But can't. Back now to Berger. Nice clearance away. Hoffman does well to handle the defender there. Brand, nice turn. Out to Linda, overlapping on this left-hand side. Brand. Minga to Berger. Berger sends it forwards. Touchdown in there for Denmark. Ferguson unable to hold the ball. Brand. Linda. Minga. 2 minutes to play.
I have to say, I think Denmark's subs have made them weaker. I don't think just certain players have come on and not performed, not played up to the same standard.
They took off Thompson and Bangsgaard, who are excellent. For Nadim, who struggled. Bruno, we haven't really seen. Trollsgaard for Karen Holmgaard. Hasn't really given him much.
No.
Yeah. Kramer as well.
So I'd say the wrong decisions because they're the only clubs he's got.
That's left hand side. Clara Buell can cut inside and finish it off. Over the bar again from Buell. She's just been a bit too wasteful in this match.
Yeah, dangerous. They've had plenty of opportunities, but hasn't buried any of them. But yeah, last minute then. For Denmark, it is now or never. Germany killing more time by making a sub hit.
Yeah, Zike coming on for Brand, a winger for a winger.
Another contribution today for Brand.
More of a left winger Zike, but can play either side really. There's only 60 seconds left.
And well, Germany, who were in a spot above her at half time, have done well to put themselves in a position where they will be confirmed through.
Buell. Looking at carry it forwards, good tackle. That just puts out a play from Ferge. No one for Germany. Any rush to take this throw. Linda. That's where you need players up and down the touchline. They're getting it going. Nusken. Zikai.
Recycles it well. Denmark needing a goal, but it's Germany one's putting pressure on.
Zikai. Wants to take it past Holmgaard, but can't. Ball up the line. Flicked on well by Nadim. Here is Pernilla Harder then driving the ball forwards for Denmark. Has some supporting cast. Cut out well by Janina Minga. Ball swung into the area and into the gloves of Berger. Rather comically goes down. Not even trying to make that one subtle.
That was probably the last chance for Denmark.
Yeah, unfortunately so.
They just didn't get a shot out of it.
And Sweden tonight could knock the Danes out. Here is Freigang. Out to Buell. Into the 100th minute of the match. Clipped in there. Zikai tries to meet it. Freigang will recycle it. Nusko. Freigang. Now Clara Buell. Wants to come inside. I don't know, I should intercept this to the corner. Driving in and out, Bill. Now Nusken. Going back to Minga, and that is the full-time whistle. Germany 2, Denmark 1. Germany seal their place in the quarter-finals. It wasn't pretty and required a huge slice of fortune, but they are through, and that's the important thing. 6 points from 2 matches. Sweden coming up on Saturday night. But ultimately, Germany through, and Denmark now staring down the barrel of despair If Sweden win or draw later this evening, then that will see Denmark knocked out of Women's Euro 2025. They're relying on Poland beating them, so they're relying really on a bit of a pipe dream now, Denmark. And even if they do get the right conditions, it's gonna be really difficult for them to turn around the last game.
Yeah, a game here that had so much potential for Denmark. We thought after 45 minutes that maybe they would open up this group and turn it into a really tight contest and put Germany in a difficult spot. But Germany, they've puffed through the first 2 match weeks, but they've taken 6 points from both games and they are through to the quarterfinals. The finalists from 2022 are looking to go one step further, and hasn't been that convincing so far, but they've got the job done, and that is the most important thing. And they become the 3rd side confirmed through to the knockouts.
Yep, indeed. I think there'll be concern over how they're playing, but they are getting results, and that's important. Denmark will feel that that was an opportunity missed. They were the better side for most of the game, but 2 big errors from themselves. They've only got themselves to blame. 2 big errors from themselves cost them in this match. And well, Germany got the win because of that. But we will be back in 39 minutes. It's not going to be a long break between these ones for Sweden versus Poland. So join us for that. In the meantime, go and check out the short from today. It's available on YouTube. So you can go to the channel, check that out, or head on over to the TikTok or Instagram to go and watch it there. That, though, is everything from us today, but we will see you shortly.